The Imperium of Man feeds 10,000 psychers daily to a corpse god just to keep the lights on. Chaos gods feast on mortal souls like fine wine. The Tyranids recycle biomass with industrial efficiency. In this universe, death serves a purpose, follows rules, bends to the will of powers beyond mortal comprehension. But what happens when something arrives that makes death itself kneel? The sky above Hive Volantis cracked. Not a warp rift. The tech priest would verify this later. Their instruments detecting no Geller field disruption, no immaterium bleed-through, no demonic signatures. Just a vertical slash in reality, edges gleaming like polished obsidian, and through it stepped a man who should not exist. Sung Jin-Woo emerged onto rusted industrial scaffolding 5 kilometers above the hive floor. His black coat settled around him as the dimensional gate sealed shut with a sound like a blade being sheathed. For 3 seconds, he stood perfectly still, gray eyes scanning a cityscape of Gothic spires and industrial smoke that stretched to every horizon. Then the translucent blue screen appeared before him, visible only to his eyes. System notice. Emergency raid scenario. Initialized new universe. Detected dimensional coordinates. Unknown threat level. Catastrophic objective. Survive and investigate. Jin-Woo's lips curved slightly. The system had never categorized anything as catastrophic before. Even the Monarch's War hadn't earned that designation. "Show me," he said quietly. Scanning local area. Entities detected. 2,147,392 human signatures. Non-human signatures. 47 hostiles. Analyzing. The numbers kept climbing. Jin-Woo's eyes narrowed as the system's detection radius expanded, painting a map of the massive city structure around him. Millions of humans packed into a single urban complex that made Seoul look like a village. And something else. Deeper. Darker. Warning, extra-dimensional energy signatures detected. Classification, unknown malevolent entities. Corruption, probability, 94%. Interesting. Jin-Woo stepped off the scaffolding and dropped. Wind howled past him as he plummeted 20 meters, landing on a lower platform with barely a sound. His knees absorbed the impact effortlessly. His stats had long since passed the threshold where gravity was more suggestion than law. A dozen emaciated humans in filthy rags scrambled backward, their faces a mix of terror and desperate hunger. Underhive dwellers, Jin-Woo realized, assessing them with the cold efficiency of a hunter who'd cleared 10,000 dungeons. Malnourished, armed with improvised weapons. Dangerous only in numbers. One of them, braver or more foolish than the others, raised a rusted pipe. Your coat! Give us your coat or... Jin-Woo looked at him. The man's voice died. Every human on the platform suddenly felt it. A pressure, ancient and absolute, like standing at the bottom of an ocean trench. This wasn't killing intent. This was the simple acknowledgement of a predator so far above them on the food chain that violence would be redundant. The man with the pipe dropped it. The clang echoed in the sudden silence. "This city," Jin-Woo said, his voice calm. "What do you call it?" Hive Volantis, my lord," a woman stammered, falling to her knees. "We meant no disrespect. We didn't know you were. We thought you were another ganger. I'm not your lord." Jin-Woo turned away, already moving toward a nearby access shaft. "But I'm not your enemy either. Stay out of my way." He dropped into the shaft before they could respond, shadow stepping down 50 levels in seconds. The system continued its analysis, feeding him information about this strange new universe. Quest generated quest. Death World Trial. Objective: investigate planetary threat signature distance. 247 kilometers northeast. Recommended party size: full raid party, 40 plus members. Difficulty: S rank. Jin-Woo smiled. The system was adjusting to this new universe, and already it was offering him challenges. Good. He hadn't felt genuinely tested since becoming the Shadow Monarch. Accept quest, he said. Above him, in the spires of Hive Volantis, augur arrays began screaming. Acolytes of the Adeptus Mechanicus stared at their instruments in confusion as an unknown energy signature appeared on their sensors. Not warp taint, not Xenos, but something else entirely. Something that registered as both impossibly powerful and completely cold, as if death itself had learned to walk. In his sanctum, Inquisitor Valdrich of the Ordo Xenos set down his recaf and activated his Vox bead. Confirm that reading. Confirmed, my lord, his acolyte replied, voice tight with tension. Unknown entity, massive power signature. It's moving, fast, heading toward the northern wastes. Scramble my retinue, full battle configuration. Valdrich stood, his augmetic eye already cycling through combat protocols. And send word to the Astra Militarum garrison. We may need reinforcements. He didn't know it yet, but Inquisitor Valdrich had just made the decision that would introduce the Imperium of Man to something they had no protocols for, no contingencies against, no prayers to ward away. A monarch who commanded death itself and answered to no god. If you crave more tales where impossible powers collide with the grim darkness of the far future, smash that subscribe button. The Emperor protects those who support the channel. Now let's see what happens when a true monarch enters a universe of false gods. Jin-Woo covered the 2,847 kilometers in 6 hours. He shadow-stepped across the wasteland between hives, moving through darkness itself when the terrain allowed, sprinting at speeds that would have made him a blur to human eyes when it didn't. The landscape was bleaker than any dungeon he'd explored, a rust-red desert of toxic dust, skeletal ruins of failed settlements, and the occasional acid rain that forced him to deploy a mana barrier. The system updated continuously. Environmental analysis complete. Atmospheric toxicity, severe radiation levels, moderate recommended survival equipment, full hazard suit, current protection, Monarch's constitution, sufficient. Jin-Woo dismissed the notification. His body had transcended human limitations long ago. Poison, radiation, extreme temperatures, all meaningless to someone who died and returned as something more. The quest marker pulsed ahead, growing stronger, and with it, a sensation he recognized immediately. Killing intent. Massive, alien, and hungry. He crested a ridge and stopped. The valley below churned with movement. Creatures, if they could be called that, swarmed across the landscape like a living tide. Chitinous bodies in shades of purple and bone white, ranging from dog-sized to building-sized. Some skittered on blade legs, others slithered, still others flew on membrane wings. All of them radiated the same wrongness, the same fundamental hostility to existence itself. Threat assessment complete. Species, Tyranid bioforms estimated. Count 47,000 plus. Threat classification, extinction. Level recommendation, immediate retreat. Jin-Woo's eyes glowed faint purple. No, I want to test something. He'd felt it the moment he'd arrived in this universe. His shadows were stable. Completely stable. Whatever strange energies permeated this place Whatever the system had called extra-dimensional corruption, it didn't affect his power the way he'd expected. If anything, he felt stronger here, as if this universe's relationship with death was so twisted, so fundamental, that it resonated with his nature as the Shadow Monarch. Time to confirm it. Arise. The shadows responded instantly. From Jin-Woo's own shadow, figures emerged, dozens, then hundreds, then thousands. His army. Shadow soldiers in black armor. Shadow mages crackling with dark energy. Shadow giants bearing massive weapons. They'd followed him through the dimensional gate, existing in the space between life and death that he commanded absolutely. But these were old shadows, extracted from his original world. He needed to know if his power worked here. Jin-Woo drew a dagger from his inventory, simple, unadorned, perfectly weighted. Then he stepped off the ridge and fell into the swarm. The Tyranids reacted instantly. A dozen Hormagaunts launched themselves at him, scything talons aimed to tear him apart. Jin-Woo moved through them like water, the dagger flashing. Black blood sprayed. Chitin cracked. 3 seconds, 12 corpses. You have slain, Hormagaunt. You have slain, Hormagaunt. You have slain. The notifications scrolled past. Jin-Woo ignored them, focusing on the bodies at his feet. He reached out with his power, feeling for the thread of death, the soul echo that would let him extract their shadows, and found it. Different from human souls, alien and hungry and utterly single-minded, but present. The Tyranids weren't soulless machines. They were alive, and anything alive could die, and anything dead belonged to him. Arise, Jin-Woo commanded, channeling his power into the corpses. Purple-black energy erupted from the fallen Hormagaunts. Their bodies convulsed, chitin cracking and reforming, organic matter dissolving into shadow stuff. Then they rose, not as the living bioforms they'd been, but as his shadows. Their eyes burned with purple light. The psychic connection to the hive mind severed instantly, replaced by absolute loyalty to their new master. Shadow extraction successful. Shadow soldier, Hormagaunt, obtained. Shadow soldier, Hormagaunt, obtained. Shadow soldier, Hormagaunt, obtained. Jin-Woo's smile widened. Perfect. The swarm descended on him en masse. Hormagaunts, Termagaunts, warriors, hundreds of claws and fangs and bioweapons, all focused on the lone human who dared stand against the great devourer. They died by the dozens. Jin-Woo moved like a ghost, his enhanced speed and reflexes making their attacks seem sluggish. Every kill added to his army. Every shadow extracted strengthened his forces. Within 10 minutes, he commanded 200 Tyranid shadows. Attack, he ordered. His new shadow Tyranids turned on their living brethren with savage efficiency. The swarm recoiled in confusion, their own kind perverted into something wrong, fighting with perfect coordination against them. The hive mind shrieked psychically, unable to comprehend what was happening. Jin-Woo stood at the center of the chaos, calm and untouched. He'd fought like this for years in his own world, one man against thousands, growing stronger with every battle, turning his enemy's forces against them. The Tyranids were dangerous, yes. Extinction-level threats, according to the system. But they weren't monarchs. A massive shape burst from the ground, a carnifex easily 4 meters tall, armored in thick chitin plates and armed with crushing claws. It bellowed a challenge, the sound wet and alien, and charged directly at Jin-Woo. He didn't move. The carnifex's claw descended, capable of crushing a battle tank. Jin-Woo caught it with one hand. His fingers dug into chitin that could withstand anti-tank rounds, and the massive creature's charge stopped dead. "Too slow," Jin-Woo said. He pulled. The Carnifex's entire arm tore free in a spray of ichor. Before it could react, Jin-Woo's dagger plunged into its skull, piercing through armor that should have been impenetrable, finding the brain cluster with surgical precision. "You have slain Carnifex." The massive body crashed to the ground. Jin-Woo placed his hand on its carapace. "Arise." This extraction took longer. The creature's essence was more complex, more powerful. But Jin-Woo had extracted dragons and demon kings. A bioweapon, however formidable, was nothing in comparison. Shadow flesh reformed into a monstrous shape. The Carnifex rose as his shadow, purple fire burning in its eyes, its torn arm regenerated in dark energy. It roared, not a biological sound anymore, but something deeper, the howl of death given form. Elite Shadow Soldier Carnifex obtained. Above the battlefield, invisible to Jin-Woo's eyes, an inquisitorial scout servo skull recorded everything. Its pict feed transmitted directly to a ship in low orbit, where Inquisitor Valdric watched the impossible unfold on grainy screens. "Holy Terra," one of his acolytes whispered. "He's converting them. The Tyranids. He's making them serve him." Valdric said nothing. His augmetic eye whirred as it analyzed the footage, running it through every classification protocol the Ordo Xenos possessed. Necromancy? No. Necromancers animated corpses. This was something else. This was domination of death itself. "My lord, what are your orders?" Valdric watched the lone figure below raise another Carnifex. Then a Tyranid warrior, adding them to an army that now numbered in the hundreds. The Tyranid swarm was in full retreat, the hive mind apparently deciding that discretion was preferable to feeding this anomaly more materials. "Prepare my shuttle," Valdric said quietly, "and contact the nearest Space Marine chapter. We need an Astartes consultation." "You don't intend to engage him?" "Engage him?" Valdric's laugh was bitter. "Acolyte, I've hunted Xenos for 40 years. I know when I'm looking at something beyond my authorization level. That man down there just conquered a Tyranid swarm in under an hour, alone." He zoomed in on Jin-Woo's face, young, calm, unbothered by the carnage around him. "No, we're not engaging him. We're going to talk to him and pray to the Emperor that he's willing to listen." On the battlefield, Jin-Woo surveyed his new army with satisfaction. 417 Tyranid shadows, including 3 Carnifexes and a dozen warriors. Not bad for a field test. Quest, Death World Trial complete. Rewards, $150,000 EXP, new skill unlocked. Level up, level up. Current level, 347. New skill, Xenomorph Adaptation. Description, Shadow Army can now incorporate alien physiology. Jin-Woo dismissed the notifications and turned his attention to the horizon. The system was already generating a new quest marker, this one pointing back toward High Volantis. Someone was coming to meet him. Multiple someones, heavily armed. Good. He had questions about this universe, and he preferred to get answers from the locals rather than stumbling around blind. He started walking back toward the hive, his shadow army flowing behind him like a dark tide. The Tyranids had been an excellent warm-up. Now it was time to meet the Imperium of Man. The shuttle descended through Volantis' industrial smog on columns of burning promethium, its armored hull bearing the stylized eye of the Inquisition. It touched down on a cleared landing pad in the hive's upper levels, scattering ash and debris. The boarding ramp lowered with a pneumatic hiss. Inquisitor Valdrish emerged first, his red and black robes whipping in the recycled wind. He was a man of 70 standard years, though augmetics had kept him combat capable. His left eye was a sophisticated Auspex implant, his right arm reinforced with subdermal armor plating. Behind him came his retinue, 2 crusaders in powered armor, a sanctioned psyker in suppression chains, 3 stormtroopers with hellguns, and his interrogator, a severe woman named Kira, who carried enough digital weapons to level a small building. They'd chosen the meeting site carefully, an abandoned administratum building in Volantis's mid-hive, far from civilian populations, but accessible. Valdrick had sent a message via long-range Vox, broadcasting on all frequencies. Unknown entity. The Inquisition requests parley. Coordinates enclosed. Come alone or do not come at all. He'd expected no response. He'd gotten one within the hour. A simple, understood in Gothic, transmitted from an unknown source. Now they waited. Auspex reads clear, my lord, one of the stormtroopers reported, his instrument scanning the ruined building. No hostiles, no traps, no... He stopped. Wait. Contact. Single signature. Approaching fast. How fast? Valdrick asked. 30 kilometers per hour. On foot. Sir, that shouldn't be possible. Valdrick's augmetic eye tracked the signature. The stormtrooper was right. No human could maintain that speed for more than a few seconds, let alone across kilometers of a hive city terrain. Everyone stand ready. Weapons lowered but prepared. Remember, we're here to talk. My lord, Kira said quietly. Are you certain this is wise? What we saw on the battlefield, I'm not certain of anything, interrogator. That's why we're talking. The presence arrived. One moment the entrance to the administratum building was empty. The next, a figure stood there, having moved so quickly and quietly that none of them had seen him approach. Jin-Woo stepped into the dim light, his black coat settling around him, his gray eyes scanning each member of the retinue with clinical precision. Valdrish felt the weight of that gaze. It was like being evaluated by something vast and ancient. Despite the man's young appearance, the sanctioned psyker gasped softly, her chains rattling. You wanted to talk, Jin-Woo said. His Gothic was perfect, utterly unaccented. Another impossibility that Valdrick filed away for later analysis. I'm listening. Valdrick stepped forward, keeping his hands visible and away from his weapons. I am Inquisitor Valdrish of the Ordo Xenos, servant of the God Emperor of mankind. You are an unknown entity who appeared on an Imperial world without authorization, demonstrated abilities beyond any known classification, and converted tyrannid bioforms into servants. Is that a question? Jin-Woo asked. It's a summary. Here's the question. What are you, and what do you want? Jin-Woo considered this. The system had been feeding him information since he'd arrived, analyzing the Inquisitor's equipment, the retinue's threat level, the energy signatures it called extra-dimensional corruption that permeated everything here. But context was missing. He needed to understand this universe's power structures before making decisions. My name is Sung Jin-Woo, he said. I'm a hunter. I came here because... He paused. How to explain the system? Because something brought me here. As for what I want, I'm still determining that. A hunter. Valdrick's augmetic eye whirred, recording everything. You hunt what? Xenos? Demons. Threats, Jin-Woo said simply. Whatever threatens humanity. The sanctioned psyker made a strangled sound. Valdrish glanced at her. She was staring at Jin-Woo with wide eyes, her face pale. "My lord," she whispered, I can't read him. He's there, I can see him, but to my witch sight he's empty." "No, not empty, like looking into a void that looks back." "Witch sight?" Jin-Woo's eyes narrowed slightly. "You're scanning me." "Stop!" The psyker's head snapped back as if struck. She crumpled, unconscious before she hit the ground. The Crusaders immediately raised their power mauls. The stormtroopers brought their hell guns to bear. "Stand down," Valdrick commanded. He kept his eyes on Jin-Woo, who hadn't moved, hadn't even tensed. "What did you do to her?" "She tried to probe my mind," Jin-Woo said, his tone flat. "I defended myself. She's alive, just unconscious. She'll wake in a few hours." Valdrick's tactical computer ran probability scenarios. The unknown entity had neutralized a sanctioned psyker without visible effort, without moving, without any warning. Threat assessment, extreme. Engagement probability, 0% survival. Recommendation, negotiation or retreat. He'd known that already. "I apologize," Valdrick said carefully. "She overstepped, but you must understand our caution. Your abilities are unprecedented. We've never encountered anything like what you did to those Tyranids." "You mean my shadows?" Jin-Woo gestured, and darkness pooled at his feet. From it emerged a single hormigaunt shadow, its chitinous form wreathed in purple-black energy. The inquisitorial retinue tensed, but the creature simply stood there, motionless, awaiting its master's command. Kara's hand moved toward her digital weapons. "Xenos abomination." "It's not alive," Jin-Woo interrupted. "It's a shadow, an echo of something that died. It can't be killed again because it's already dead. It can't be corrupted because it has no soul. It simply obeys me." "Necromancy," Valdrick said. The word hung in the air like an accusation. "If that's what you call it." Jin-Woo dismissed the shadow with a thought. "In my world, I'm called the Shadow Monarch. I command death itself. Everything that dies can serve me. Everything." The implications crashed through Valdrick's tactical mind like artillery shells. Everything that dies. In a galaxy where trillions died every day, where entire worlds were consumed by war. This man could theoretically build an army without limit. No need for recruitment, training, equipment, logistics. Just death and the will to command it. Either the greatest asset the Imperium had ever encountered, or the greatest threat. "You said you hunt threats to humanity," Valdrick said slowly. "Which humanity? Yours or ours?" Jin-Woo's expression shifted slightly. Approval, perhaps, at the question. "A valid concern. I don't know yet. I've been in your universe for less than a day, but I've seen enough to know you face extinction-level threats. Those creatures I fought. Tyranids, you called them." "One of several," Valdrick confirmed. "The Great Devourer, a Xenos species that consumes all biomass in its path. They've destroyed hundreds of worlds. And there are others. Many others. Chaos demons from the warp, orc hordes that multiply through spores, Necron tomb worlds awakening. The Imperium of Man stands against a hostile galaxy and barely survives." Jin-Woo processed this. The system had detected massive threats, but hearing it confirmed was different. This wasn't one dungeon break or one monarch's war. This was an entire universe at war with itself, perpetually, endlessly. System notice multiple. Extinction-level threats confirmed. Quest chain initialized. Galaxy at war. Phase 1. Establish faction relations. Recommendation. Gather intelligence before commitment. Sound advice. Jin-Woo had learned the hard way not to rush into situations he didn't fully understand. "I need information," he said. "About your Imperium, about these threats, about how this universe functions. In exchange, I'm willing to demonstrate that I'm not your enemy." "Demonstrate how?" Kira asked, suspicious. Jin-Woo gestured toward the sanctioned psyker, still unconscious on the floor. "She called me empty to her witch site. That's because I'm not from this universe. Your demons and chaos, they're extra-dimensional entities, correct? Energy-based beings from another plane of existence." "The warp," Valdrick confirmed, wondering where this was going. "The immaterium, a dimension of pure psychic energy, home to nightmares given form." "Then let me be clear. I am not from the warp. I am not chaos-touched. My power comes from a completely different source, one that predates and exists outside your immaterium." Jin-Woo met Valdrick's gaze directly. "I've died, Inquisitor. Truly died. I went to the other side and came back as something more. Your demons serve the concept of death. I am death. There's a difference." Valdrick's augmetic eye recorded every word, every micro-expression, analyzing for deception. The entity, Jin-Woo, believed what he was saying. That much was clear. Whether it was true was another matter entirely. "My lord," one of the stormtroopers said quietly, "this sounds like heresy." "Everything sounds like heresy when you don't understand it," Valdrick snapped. He'd been Inquisitor long enough to know that the galaxy was far stranger than the Ecclesiarchy's dogma allowed for. The question is whether it's dangerous heresy. He made a decision, possibly the most important one of his career. "I will arrange for you to meet with higher authorities," Valdrick said. "Representatives of the Adeptus Mechanicus, perhaps the Astra Militarum High Command, possibly even an Astartes delegation. You will answer their questions as you've answered mine. In return, we will provide you with information about the Imperium and the threats we face." "And if I refuse?" Valdrick laughed, a short, bitter sound. "Then you refuse, and we return to our respective corners. I'm not fool enough to think we could compel you to do anything. I saw what you did to that swarm, but I don't think you will refuse. You said you hunt threats. We have threats in abundance. If you truly want to help humanity, even a humanity not your own, then we have common ground." Jin-Woo considered this. The old Inquisitor was smarter than he looked, and more pragmatic. He'd assessed the situation correctly. Jin-Woo had no interest in fighting the local humans unless they forced his hand. And he did need information. "Acceptable," Jin-Woo said. "Arrange your meetings. But understand something, Inquisitor. I don't serve anyone. Not you. Not your Imperium. Not your God Emperor. I'll help because I choose to. And only as long as our interests align. I wouldn't expect anything else." Valdrick gestured to his crusaders, who carefully lifted the unconscious psyker. "We have meta-key facilities in the upper hive. You're welcome to accompany us, or I'll find my own accommodations," Jin-Woo said. "Contact me when you've arranged the meetings." He turned to leave, then paused. "One more thing. Those chaos demons you mentioned. Where can I find them?" Every member of the retinue stiffened. Why? Kira demanded. Jin-Woo's smile was cold. Because if they're made of warp energy, I want to test whether I can extract their shadows. If I can convert entities from your immaterium the same way I converted those Tyranids, that changes everything. He shadow stepped out of the building before anyone could respond, moving through darkness and emerging 2 kilometers away in seconds. Behind him, Inquisitor Valdrich stood in silence for a long moment. Then he activated his Vox speed. "Get me a direct line to Holy Terra," he said quietly. "Highest priority, Inquisitorial Authority Code Valdrich 7 Omega. I need to speak with the Ordo Malleus Grandmaster immediately." "My lord, that will take days to arrange." "Then start now, because if that man can do what I think he can do, if he can convert demons into loyal servants, then either we just met the Imperium's salvation, or we've encountered something that will make the Horus Heresy look like a minor rebellion." He looked at the spot where Jin-Woo had vanished. "And I have absolutely no idea which." Jin-Woo found lodging in the mid-hive, purchasing a small hab unit with currency he'd looted from the Tyranid battlefield. Imperial thrones, according to the system's translation function. The previous owner had been a mid-level administratum clerk who died in a gang dispute. The space was cramped by his standards, barely 15 square meters, but it had running water, functioning lights, and most importantly, privacy. He sat cross-legged on the floor, ignoring the rusted bed frame, and opened his interface. Status window name, Sung Jin-Woo level, 347 class, Shadow Monarch. Title, King of the Dead HP, 487,920. 651,840. Strength, 3479. Vitality, 3192. Agility, 3654. Intelligence, 3287. Sense, 3518 remaining stat points. 20 Shadow Soldiers, 4817. Shadow Storage, Unlimited. Jin-Woo scrolled through his army roster. Most were soldiers from his original world, knights, mages, giants, dragons. But now 417 new entries bore the designation Tyranid Bioform, Shadow. The system had adapted perfectly to this universe, categorizing the alien creatures as extractable entities without hesitation. The question was, would it work on demons? According to Inquisitor Valdrich, demons were beings of pure psychic energy from something called the Warp. Not physical creatures, not truly alive in the conventional sense. But if they could be killed, then by definition they could die. And anything that could die fell under his jurisdiction. New quest available quest. Breach the Veil. Objective, locate and engage chaos. Demon reward, unique skill. Unlock difficulty, a rank warning. Warp entities may possess corruption abilities. Jin-Woo smiled. The system was learning, adapting its quest generation to match threats in this universe. A rank was high, but not impossible. He'd cleared S-rank gates solo in his world. Time to see how this universe's demons compared. A knock at his door interrupted his thoughts. Jin-Woo's senses flared. He'd already detected the visitor approaching, moving with practiced stealth. Not hostile, but definitely trained. He opened the door. A woman in her 30s stood there, wearing the practical clothing of a mid-hive worker, but her stance betrayed military training. Her right hand rested casually near her hip, where a concealed holster likely waited. "Sung Jin-Woo?" she asked in low Gothic. "Depends on who's asking." "Interrogator Kira, Inquisitor Valdrich's second. May I come in?" Jin-Woo stepped aside. Kira entered, her eyes sweeping the sparse room with tactical assessment before settling back on him. You're not what I expected. What did you expect? Someone who could defeat a Tyranid swarm and neutralize a sanctioned psyker without effort. I expected more. Presence. Instead, you look like any other hive ganger. She paused. That's a compliment, by the way. The truly dangerous ones never look dangerous. Jin-Woo gestured to the floor. There was nowhere to sit. Your Inquisitor sent you? No, I came on my own initiative. Kira settled into a crouch with practiced ease. Valdric is proceeding through official channels, contacting the Mechanicus, the guard, requesting an Astartes consultation. That will take days, possibly weeks. Meanwhile, you asked about demons. Jin-Woo's interest sharpened. You know where to find one. I know where demon activity has been reported. Lower Hive, subsector Gamma 7. There's a cult. Emperor's Mercy. There's always a cult that's been conducting rituals. We've been monitoring them, waiting to strike once we identify the leadership. But if you want an encounter with the Warp's denizens, she met his gaze. I can arrange it. Why would you do that? Kira's expression hardened. Because I watched the pict feeds from that battlefield. I saw you convert Tyranids into servants. The Inquisitor thinks you might be salvation or damnation. I need to know which before we bring you before the wider Imperium. If you can extract demon shadows the same way you extracted Xenos, then you're either the greatest weapon we've ever encountered, or the greatest heresy. And if I fail, if demons prove resistant to my power, then you're just another powerful psyker, albeit an unusual one. Still valuable, but manageable. Kira stood. So, are you interested in a field test? Jin-Woo considered. This was exactly what he needed. Direct experience with this universe's supernatural threats before committing to any faction. When? 2 hours. I'll have a transport waiting at the western gate. Come armed. I'm always armed, Jin-Woo said, though his hands were empty. Kira smiled, a warrior smile, all edge and no warmth. Good, because if things go wrong down there, even the Inquisition won't save us. The lower hive was a different world. Where the mid-hive was cramped and industrial, the lower levels were outright hellish. Rusted infrastructure leaked toxic runoff. Chem lamps flickered in perpetual twilight. Mutants and outcasts huddled in corners, their bodies twisted by generations of radiation exposure. The air itself tasted of metal and decay. Jin-Woo followed Kira through winding corridors, his senses mapping everything within a kilometer. The system had detected numerous hostile signatures, gangers, mutants, feral servitors whose machine spirits had degraded, but none that registered as extra-dimensional. How do you live like this? He asked. Most don't. Lower hive mortality rate is 90% before age 30. Kira navigated by instinct, her hand never far from her bolt pistol. But the Imperium is vast. Trillions live, and that's what matters. Individual suffering is regrettable, but necessary. Jin-Woo said nothing. He'd seen poverty in his own world, seen how systems failed people. But this was different. This was poverty weaponized, suffering codified into doctrine. The Imperium seemed to run on human misery, the way engines ran on Promethium. They descended another 3 levels via rusted elevator. Kira had 2 stormtroopers with her. She'd insisted, though Jin-Woo doubted they'd be necessary. The cultist hideout was in an abandoned water reclamation facility, according to her intelligence. 30 to 40 members, led by a witch who'd been corrupting locals with promises of power. Standard chaos cult, Kira explained as they approached. Probably Slanesh, given the testimonies of excess and sensation. The witch is the key. She'll have a direct connection to the warp. If demons manifest, it'll be through her. Jin-Woo's senses detected them before they reached the facility. Humanoid signatures, but wrong, twisted. Some of them barely registered as human anymore, their life forces flickering with that same extra-dimensional corruption the system had warned about. And deeper inside, something else. Something that pulsed with malevolent intelligence. Hostile entity detected. Classification: warp-based demon threat level. High corruption. Aura. Active recommendation. Extreme caution. There's definitely something in there, Jin-Woo confirmed. Non-physical, but present. Strong. Kira checked her bolt pistol. Then we proceed carefully. Remember, if you feel any mental influence, whispers, promises, unusual desires, you report it immediately. Chaos corruption starts subtle. Jin-Woo almost laughed. He'd resisted the ruler's domination, faced down monarchs who could reshape reality with thought. Whatever mental influence these demons wielded, he'd weathered worse. They breached the facility through a service entrance. The stormtroopers moved with practiced precision, hellguns raised, sweeping corners. Kira advanced behind them, her bolt pistol loaded with sanctified ammunition. Jin-Woo simply walked, his enhanced senses painting a perfect picture of everything ahead. The cultists were in the main chamber, a vast space where water had once been purified, now defiled with crude symbols painted in blood. 42 humans, most of them emaciated, their bodies marked with ritual scarification. They swayed and chanted in a language that hurt to hear, syllables that seemed to twist the air itself. At the center, a woman floated 3 meters off the ground. Her body was a corruption of the human form. Too many joints, skin that shifted between flesh and something translucent. Eyes that wept liquid pleasure and pain. Power radiated from her in nauseating waves. And behind her, in the space where air met something else, a shape was forming. Massive, impossible, its edges flickering between existence and non-existence. Demon manifestation detected. Species: Keeper of Secrets, Greater Demon of Slanesh. Threat level: Extreme warning, entity possesses reality. Warping capabilities. Emperor's Throne, one of the stormtroopers whispered. That's a greater demon. We need to fall back, call for... No, Kira said, her voice tight but controlled. We hold. Jin-Woo, can you? Jin-Woo was already moving. He shadow-stepped across the chamber in an instant, appearing directly in front of the floating witch. Her eyes widened, dilated pupils swimming in corrupted sclera as she registered his presence. She opened her mouth to scream. Jin-Woo's dagger punched through her sternum. You have slain Chaos Witch, corrupted psyker. The witch's body convulsed. The chanting stopped. Cultists screamed in confusion and rage. And behind it all, the manifesting demon shrieked, a sound that existed on frequencies beyond human hearing, expressing rage and hunger and dark amusement. The Keeper of Secrets finished manifesting. It was beautiful and terrible, easily 4 meters tall, its form a perverse blend of masculine and feminine attributes. Forearms ending in crab-like claws, skin that shifted through colors that had no names, a face that was at once alluring and repulsive, promising every sensation imaginable and every horror conceivable. Mortal, it said, its voice like silk and screaming. You have slain my vessel. For this, I shall ensure your torment lasts centuries." Jin-Woo looked up at the greater demon, his expression unchanged. "You're made of energy, not flesh, but you're here. You manifested. That means you exist in this dimension, at least partially." The demon laughed, a sound that made one of the stormtroopers vomit. "I am beyond your comprehension, beyond your mortality, beyond your pathetic." "Arise," Jin-Woo said, placing his hand on the witch's corpse. Purple-black energy erupted. The demon stopped mid-sentence, its multiple eyes narrowing as it felt something impossible occurring. The witch's body dissolved into shadow stuff, then reformed, not as the corrupted thing she'd been, but as a shadow soldier, her eyes burning with purple light, her form stabilized and purified of warp taint. Shadow extraction successful. Elite shadow soldier, Chaos Witch obtained. Warning, warp essence detected in shadow form. Corruption, probability, 0%. Reason, Shadow Monarch's dominion supersedes chaos influence. Jin-Woo smiled. The system had confirmed it. His power didn't just extract shadows, it purified them, removing all external influence and binding them absolutely to his will. Chaos corruption, warp taint, demonic possession. None of it survived the transition to shadow form. "Interesting," he said, looking back at the demon. "Now let's see if it works on you." The Keeper of Secrets' expression shifted from amusement to something approaching concern. "You dare?" Jin-Woo drew his real weapon, not the dagger. That was just for testing. From his inventory, he pulled Kamish's fang, the jet-black longsword forged from a dragon's remains, a weapon that had killed gods in his world. It hummed with power, eager for battle. The demon attacked first. It moved faster than anything its size should, claws extending, reality warping around it. Cultists shrieked and fled. The stormtroopers opened fire with hell guns, but their beams passed through the demon as if it was smoke. Jin-Woo met its charge head-on. Kamish's fang cleaved through the demon's claw. Black ichor sprayed, something between blood and nightmare, sizzling where it hit the ground. The Keeper of Secrets recoiled, genuine surprise on its inhuman face. "You can hurt me," it hissed. "Impossible. You are not anointed, not blessed by that corpse god." Jin-Woo didn't bother responding. He activated Shadow Exchange, teleporting through his witch shadow to appear behind the demon, Kamish's fang already swinging. The blade bit deep into the demon's spine, or what passed for a spine in its warped anatomy. The Keeper shrieked and lashed out with all four arms. Jin-Woo shadow stepped away, letting the attacks pass through empty space, then reappeared on the demon's left flank. Another cut, deeper this time. More ichor. "You cannot kill me," the demon snarled, its beautiful face twisting into something monstrous. "I am eternal. I am." Annoying, Jin-Woo finished. He triggered Ruler's authority. Invisible force slammed into the demon from all directions, crushing it downward. The entity howled, its reality warping abilities struggling against Jin-Woo's psychokinetic grip. It was strong, stronger than most enemies he'd faced. But it wasn't a monarch. Jin-Woo drove Kamish's fang through the demon's chest. The blade pierced something vital, whatever passed for a demon's heart. Black ichor fountained. The Keeper of Secrets gasped, its forearms scrabbling weakly. "This is impossible," it wheezed. "I am endless. I will return." "Not if I own you first," Jin-Woo said. He placed his free hand on the demon's dissolving form and channeled his power. This extraction was different, harder, like trying to grasp smoke, like wrestling with a concept instead of a creature. The demon's essence tried to flee back to the warp, to dissipate and reform in its native dimension. Jin-Woo's will was absolute. He pulled. Attempting shadow extraction. Resistance detected. Target attempting to escape to Immaterium. Override Shadow Monarch's authority. Extraction successful. Legendary Shadow Soldier, Keeper of Secrets, obtained. The demon's death scream cut off mid-shriek. Its form dissolved into shadow essence, then reformed, bound, chained, absolutely dominated. Where once stood a servant of Slaanesh, now stood Jin-Woo's shadow. Its eyes burned purple instead of pink. Its aura of corruption had vanished, replaced by the cold certainty of death's dominion. The cultists who'd been fleeing stopped, staring in horror. Their gods chosen, their promised savior, had been killed and enslaved in less than 2 minutes. "Arise," Jin-Woo said to the cultists' corpses. Many had died in the crossfire or from sheer terror. 23 new shadows joined his army. He turned to Kira and her stormtroopers. All 3 stood frozen, their weapons lowered, their faces pale with shock. "Your test," Jin-Woo said calmly. "Did I pass?" Kira's hand trembled slightly as she holstered her bolt pistol. When she spoke, her voice was barely above a whisper. "Emperor, preserve us. You didn't just kill a greater demon. You enslaved it. Permanently. Is that a problem?" "I don't know." Kira laughed, a slightly hysterical sound. "By the throne, I genuinely don't know if you're our salvation or our damnation, but Inquisitor Valdrich needs to see this. Now!" Jin-Woo dismissed his shadow army, leaving only the demon shadow visible. It stood silent, awaiting orders, a greater demon of chaos reduced to perfect obedience. "Then let's not keep him waiting," Jin-Woo said. As they left the facility, neither Kira nor her stormtroopers noticed the shadows following them. Hundreds of them, invisible in the darkness, moving through walls and floors. Jin-Woo's army, grown larger with every battle. In the warp, Slaanesh stirred. One of its greater demons had not returned. Could not return. Had been taken by something outside the great game, something that shouldn't exist. For the first time in millennia, the Dark Prince felt something approaching concern. The Vox transmission reached Holy Terra 3 days later. It passed through relay stations, astropathic choirs, and coded channels that only the highest levels of the Inquisition could access. By the time it reached the Senatorum Imperialis, it had been encrypted, authenticated, and marked with 7 different priority seals. Lord Inquisitor Torvin Haldane of the Ordo Malleus read the report in his sanctum, deep within the Imperial Palace. He read it twice, then he read it a 3rd time, his augmetic fingers tapping an agitated rhythm on his desk's adamantium surface. "This is confirmed?" he asked the servitor standing motionless nearby. "Affirmative, my lord. Inquisitor Valdrich's credentials authenticate, picked feeds included. 3 witnesses, all trained inquisitorial personnel." The entity designated Sung Jin-Woo demonstrated capability to extract and permanently bind a greater demon of Slaanesh. Haldane stared at the frozen image on his data slate, a young man in a black coat standing calmly beside what appeared to be a keeper of secrets. Except the demon's eyes glowed purple instead of pink, and its posture suggested complete subservience. Get me a conference with the High Lord's representative, Haldane said quietly. And contact Captain General Valoris of the Adeptus Custodes. He'll want to know about this immediately. My lord, should we alert the Grey Knights? Haldane considered. The Grey Knights were the Imperium's ultimate weapon against demonic threats. Space Marines specifically engineered and trained to combat chaos. If anyone could assess this entity properly, it was them. Yes. Send for Brother Captain Stern. Tell him we have a priority alpha situation. What classification shall I assign, my lord? Haldane looked again at the image. A single human, if he was human, who could permanently enslave demons, who could convert tyrannids into loyal servants, who claimed to be the monarch of death itself. Classification, Apocalypse class asset, he said. Potential Omega level threat. We either recruit this entity or we find a way to destroy him. There is no middle ground. Back on Volantis, Jin-Woo sat in an inquisitorial conference chamber while various Imperial officials argued about him like he wasn't there. Unprecedented capabilities that violate every principle of the Immaterium. Could be the greatest weapon against the arch-enemy we've ever encountered. Or the greatest heresy. You're talking about enslaving demons for the Emperor's sake. Jin-Woo tuned them out. He'd spent the last 3 days being studied, questioned, and tested. They'd brought in tech priests who'd scanned him with instruments he didn't recognize. A different sanctioned psyker, this one heavily sedated and behind protective wards, had attempted to analyze his aura. A space marine from the Ultramarines chapter had traveled from a nearby strike cruiser specifically to observe him. The space marine had been interesting. Brother Sergeant Marius, 7 feet of genetically enhanced warrior in blue ceramite armor, had watched Jin-Woo dispatch a dozen Underhive mutants with clinical detachment. Afterward, he'd said only, "Your combat efficiency is acceptable. Your nature remains questionable." Now Jin-Woo waited, while a Mechanicus Magos argued with an Imperial Guard colonel about whether his abilities constituted tech heresy or strategic advantage. Inquisitor Valdrich sat at the head of the table, his augmetic eye recording everything, saying little. New quest available quest. Investigate Terra. Objective. Reach Holy Terra and assess Dying Monarch. Signal distance 47,000 light-years estimated travel time. 3 to 6 months via warp transit. Reward. Unique skill. Unlock. Major story progression. Difficulty. Rank. Jin-Woo's attention sharpened. The system had mentioned this before. A Dying Monarch signal. Now it was offering a quest chain leading to Terra itself, the Imperium's capital world, home of their God Emperor. He'd learned enough about this universe over the past 3 days to understand what the Emperor was. A 10,000-year-old corpse kept barely alive on a machine called the Golden Throne, simultaneously powering an interstellar lighthouse and holding back demonic forces. A god who was dying by inches, sustained only by the sacrifice of thousands of psychers daily. The system thought the Emperor was a monarch, and dying monarchs were Jin-Woo's specialty. "Woo, are you listening?" Jin-Woo's attention snapped back to the present. Valdrich was addressing him directly, and the arguing had stopped. Everyone in the room stared at him. "I apologize," Jin-Woo said. "What was the question?" "The Magos asked whether your system has a physical form," Valdrich repeated. "Can it be studied? Replicated?" Jin-Woo glanced at the Mechanicus representative, a hunched figure more machine than man, draped in red robes, mechadendrites writhing like mechanical serpents. No, the system is integrated with me. It's not technology in the way you understand it. All technology can be understood with sufficient study. The Magos clicked, his voice synthesized through a vox grill. The Omnissiah's knowledge encompasses all mechanical principles. If your system provides interface capabilities, dimensional storage, and real-time analysis, then it must operate on discoverable laws. It operates on my will, Jin-Woo said flatly. I died. I was chosen. I became the Shadow Monarch. The system is a consequence of that transformation, not a tool I picked up. Heretical, the colonel muttered. Resurrection is the Emperor's domain alone. Then your Emperor and I have something in common, Jin-Woo said, and the entire room went silent. Valdrick leaned forward. Explain. Jin-Woo considered how much to reveal. These people were deeply religious, fanatically devoted to their dying god. But they were also pragmatic. They'd accepted him this far because he was useful. Time to test how far that pragmatism extended. I can sense him, Jin-Woo said quietly. Your Emperor. From here, 47,000 light years away, I can feel his presence. It's similar to mine. Death held at bay by will alone. Power bleeding out while consciousness remains trapped. The room erupted. Heresy! How dare you compare yourself to... Silence! Valdrick's command cut through the chaos, his augmetic eye fixed on Jin-Woo with laser focus. You're saying the Emperor registers to your senses as something like you. Not like me. Different. Older, vaster, more integrated with this dimension. But similar in fundamental nature. He's something that should have died, but refuses to. Something that commands death rather than succumbing to it. Jin-Woo met Valdrick's gaze. And he's failing. Whatever machine he's connected to, it's not enough. He's dying, has been dying for 10,000 years. The process is just very slow. Everyone knows the Emperor is sustained by the Golden Throne, the Colonel said dismissively. This is not new information. You misunderstand, Jin-Woo said. I'm not saying he's dying eventually. I'm saying he's dying now, continuously, and has been for millennia. The question isn't if he'll die, it's when. And what happens to your Imperium when he does? The Magos' mechadendrites stopped moving. Calculations suggest Golden Throne failure within the next millennium, possibly sooner. Mechanicus specialists have attempted repairs, but the technology predates even the Dark Age. We lack complete understanding of its function. A millennium? Jin-Woo stood. Your specialists are optimistic. At the rate I'm sensing, you have centuries at most, maybe decades. And you know this how? Valdrick asked carefully. Because I've died. Because I understand death in ways your specialists never could. Jin-Woo walked to the window, looking out over Volantis' endless industrial sprawl. You asked what I want, why I'm here. I've been thinking about that. He turned back to face them. The system that guides me generated a quest. It wants me to go to Terra, to investigate what it calls a dying monarch. I think it means your Emperor. The room went silent again, but this time the quality was different. Not outrage, calculation. You want to go to Holy Terra, Valdrick said slowly. The most heavily defended world in the Imperium, home of the Adeptus Custodes, the Imperial Palace, the Golden Throne itself. Yes. Why? Jin-Woo considered lying, then decided against it. These people weren't stupid. Because if your emperor truly is dying, and if he's similar enough to what I am, then I might be able to help him. Help him how? The Magos demanded. I don't know yet, but I command death. If anyone in this universe could potentially stabilize a dying god, or understand how his power functions, it would be me. The implications hung in the air like a blade. Brother Sergeant Marius, who'd been silent until now, spoke in his deep, resonant voice. You claim you could save the Emperor. I claim I might understand his condition better than you do. Whether I can save him depends on what I find when I examine him. And if you can't save him, Valdric asked. Jin-Woo met his gaze steadily. Then at least you'll know. You'll have time to prepare for what comes after. But if I can help, if there's even a chance I can extend his life or stabilize his power, isn't that worth the risk? The risk, the colonel said, is allowing a potential heretic into the holiest site in the Imperium. The risk, Jin-Woo countered, is your emperor dying while you argue about doctrine. How many worlds fall every year? How many billions die? How long can your Imperium survive without its god emperor? You're fighting a losing war, and everyone in this room knows it. He let that sink in before continuing. I'm offering you a chance. Maybe nothing comes of it. Maybe I reach Terra and find there's nothing I can do. But maybe, just maybe, I can give your Emperor more time. Isn't that worth investigating? Valdric's fingers drummed on the table. He exchanged glances with the Magos, then with Brother Sergeant Marius. Silent communication passed between them, decades of experience assessing threats and opportunities. This decision is beyond my authority, Valdric finally said. I've already sent reports to Holy Terra. The Ordo Malleus will decide whether you're permitted to approach the Golden Throne. How long will that take? Weeks, potentially months. Astropathic communication is unreliable, and the High Lords do not make such decisions lightly. Jin-Woo nodded. He'd expected as much. Then I'll wait. But while I wait, I'm not going to sit idle. What do you propose? The Magos asked. You have enemies. Tyranids, demons, orcs, others you've mentioned. Let me fight them. Every battle gives me more experience, more shadows for my army, more understanding of this universe. And it demonstrates that I'm not your enemy. I'm your asset. You want active combat deployment? Brother Sergeant Marius's tone suggested approval. That can be arranged. The Imperium always needs warriors. Then we have an agreement, Jin-Woo said. I fight for you while you decide whether to trust me. And when Terra gives its answer, we'll proceed from there. Valdric stood, extending his hand. Agreed. But understand something, Jin-Woo. If Terra denies your request, if the High Lords determine you're too dangerous to approach the Emperor, then we're done. No negotiations, no arguments. You go your way, and we go ours. Jin-Woo shook his hand. The Inquisitor's grip was surprisingly strong for someone his age. Understood, but I don't think they'll refuse. Because deep down, everyone in the Imperium knows what I just said is true. Your Emperor is dying, and you're running out of time. He released Valdric's hand and headed for the door. Send me coordinates when you have a deployment. I'll be ready. As Jin-Woo left, the room remained silent. Finally, the colonel spoke. Are we seriously considering letting that thing near the Emperor? We're not considering anything, Valdrich said. The High Lords will decide. But he looked at the picked feed of Jin-Woo, enslaving the Keeper of Secrets. If there's even a 1% chance he can help, can we afford not to try? Brother Sergeant Marius grunted. The Emperor protects, but perhaps in his wisdom, he has sent us a weapon we never expected. Or a test, the Magos added, to determine if humanity can recognize salvation when it wears an unfamiliar face. Valdrich said nothing. He'd been an Inquisitor for 40 years, and in that time he'd learned one fundamental truth. The galaxy was stranger and more terrible than any doctrine could encompass. If Sung Jin-Woo was genuine, if he truly could help the Emperor, then rejecting him out of dogmatic principle would be the ultimate failure of duty. And if he was deceiving them, if this was all an elaborate ruse, well, that's what the Ordo Malleus existed to handle. Either way, the next few months would determine the fate of the Imperium, and possibly the fate of humanity itself. The Imperial Guard deployment came within a week. Jin-Woo stood in the command center of Firebase Terminus, a fortress monastery perched on the edge of Volantis' northern wastes. Around him, guard officers studied tactical displays showing a situation that was rapidly deteriorating. The Orc, Wah, hit subsector Tyrax 4 days ago, Colonel Vorton explained, his scarred face illuminated by flickering holodisplays. 3 worlds already overrun. The Xenos are using crude but effective voidcraft, moving faster than we anticipated. Our forces are stretched thin. Jin-Woo examined the tactical map. Red icons representing Orc forces outnumbered blue Imperial markers 3-1. How many Orcs are we talking about? Estimates range from 500,000 to 2 million, Vorton said grimly. Orcs reproduce through spores. Every one we kill potentially spawns a dozen more. The only solution is complete planetary purge, but we lack the resources for exterminados on multiple worlds. And you want me to do what, exactly? Vorton exchanged glances with Inquisitor Valdrich, who'd accompanied Jin-Woo to the firebase. Your demonstrated ability to convert fallen enemies into loyal servants presents a unique opportunity. If you can extract Orc shadows the way you extracted Tyranids, you could create a self-sustaining army that grows with every battle. Turning the Xenos' numbers against them, Jin-Woo said, understanding immediately. Elegant. Heretical, some would say, Valdrich added. But effective. The Munitorum has approved a trial deployment. You'll accompany the 47th Volantis Regiment to Tyrax Prime. Kill Orcs. Extract their shadows. Assess viability for larger-scale operations. New quest generated quest. Green Tide Rising. Objective. Defeat Orc forces. On Tyrax Prime sub-objective. Extract 1,000 plus. Orc shadows. Reward. Skill evolution. Reputation increase with Imperium. Difficulty. B rank Jin-Woo accepted mentally. B rank was almost trivial at his level, but the opportunity to test his powers against a new species was valuable. When do we deploy? Transport leaves in 3 hours, Vorton said. Emperor willing, you'll reach Tyrax Prime in 2 days. The planet's capital hive is still holding, but the Orc siege is intensifying. Your insertion point will be... I don't need an insertion point, Jin-Woo interrupted. Just get me to the planet. I'll handle the deployment myself. The Resolve Eternal was a guard transport, utilitarian, cramped, built for function over comfort. Jin-Woo spent the 2-day journey in a cargo bay, surrounded by nervous guardsmen who'd heard rumors about what he could do. Most avoided him. A few brave souls tried to make conversation, asking questions in hushed tones about where he'd come from, whether he was a sanctioned psyker, if the stories about enslaving demons were true. Jin-Woo answered minimally, not wanting to complicate things. He spent most of his time meditating, expanding his senses, feeling the strange currents of energy that permeated this universe. The warp. He'd learned more about it from the ship's navigator, a mutant woman with a third eye bound beneath a strip of blessed parchment. She'd been terrified of him at first, but curiosity had won out. "Your presence is unusual," she'd said during one brief conversation. "Most humans create ripples in the warp, emotions, thoughts, psychic potential. But you're like a void. The warp flows around you rather than through you. Is that dangerous?" "I don't know. Nothing in my training accounts for something like you." She'd paused. "The demons can't touch you, can they? Your shadows, they're not of the warp, so the immaterium can't corrupt them." "Correct. Then the ruinous powers must hate you." She'd smiled, a broken, weary expression. "Good. They deserve to hate something." Now the Resolve Eternal dropped from the warp into the Tyrax system, and alarms immediately started blaring. "Multiple Xenos contacts," the Vox officer shouted. "Orc assault craft, bearing directly for us." Jin-Woo made his way to the bridge, ignoring the protests of junior officers. Through the main viewport, he could see Tyrax Prime, a gray-green world wreathed in smoke and fire. And between the transport and the planet, a dozen ramshackle orc vessels accelerated on crude but powerful engines. "We can't outrun them," the ship's captain said, his knuckles white on his command throne's armrests. "Prepare for boarding action. All hands to combat stations." "No need," Jin-Woo said. He turned to Valdrick, who'd accompanied the deployment. "Can you get me outside the ship?" Valdrick blinked. "Outside, in the void. I can survive vacuum. Just open an airlock." "You want to fight orc assault craft in space," Valdrick said flatly. "Unless you have a better idea." To his credit, Valdrick only hesitated for 3 seconds. "Do it." The airlock cycled open, and Jin-Woo stepped into the void. The cold was immediate and absolute. Pressure dropped to nothing. Normal humans would have died instantly, lungs exploding, blood boiling, cells rupturing from decompression. Jin-Woo's vitality stat was high enough that his body simply refused to die from such mundane things. He'd fought in dimensional rifts where physics had no meaning. Vacuum was uncomfortable, not lethal. He oriented himself, spotting the nearest orc assault craft accelerating toward the Resolve Eternal. Crude but functional, covered in welded scrap metal and random weapons, propelled by engines that probably shouldn't work, but did through sheer orc belief that they would. Jin-Woo activated Kamish's authority, the ability he'd gained from killing a dragon in his world. Black wings erupted from his back, not physical, but constructed from pure mana, each feather a blade of condensed energy. He flew. The orc vessel's crew didn't see him coming. Why would they? Humans didn't survive in space. Humans didn't fly like missiles between ships. By the time the lookouts spotted him, Jin-Woo was already on their hull. Kamish's fang carved through metal plating like paper. Jin-Woo cut a hole large enough to enter, then dropped into the ship's interior. The orcs inside stared at him, 7-foot-tall slabs of green muscle, crude weapons clutched in meaty hands, small red eyes widening in surprise. They were ugly, brutish, and according to Valdrick's briefing, multiplied through fungal reproduction. Every orc was effectively immortal until killed, and their death would spawn new orcs from their spores unless the body was completely destroyed. Jin-Woo solved this problem by killing them so thoroughly there was nothing left to spawn from. He moved through the assault craft like death incarnate, Kamish's fang singing its lethal song. Orcs died in sprays of green blood, their crude weapons no match for his speed and precision. Some tried to shoot him with crude slug throwers. Jin-Woo shadow-stepped through the bullets, appearing behind them, blade already swinging. "You have slain, orc boy. You have slain, orc boy. You have slain, orc nob." The notifications scrolled past. Jin-Woo reached the engine room and placed his hand on the reactor, a barely controlled fusion furnace held together by luck, violence, and orc engineering. He channeled mana into it, disrupting the magnetic containment. The reactor destabilized. Jin-Woo shadow-stepped back into space seconds before the assault craft exploded, scattering debris and orc bodies across the void. He oriented on the next nearest vessel and flew toward it, wings beating against nothing, mana propelling him forward through sheer will. From the Resolve Eternal's bridge, the crew watched in stunned silence as Jin-Woo single-handedly destroyed 4 orc assault craft in less than 10 minutes. The remaining vessels, demonstrating the survival instincts that lurked beneath orc stupidity, turned away and fled. "Emperor's throne," the captain whispered. "He's fighting a void battle alone, without a ship, without even a void suit." Valdrick said nothing. He was recalculating everything he thought he knew about power scales. He'd seen Astartes perform impossible feats. He'd witnessed Custodes' guards move with superhuman grace. He'd even once observed a Grey Knight banish a demon prince. But this was different. This was one man treating space itself as a battlefield, destroying military vessels like they were made of parchment. If Jin-Woo decided to become an enemy of the Imperium, how would they stop him? What could stop him? The airlock cycled open, and Jin-Woo stepped back inside, frost coating his black coat, his expression unchanged. "The approach is clear. Proceed to planetary deployment." The captain nodded mutely and gave the orders. Tyrax Prime's surface was a war zone. The capital hive, Ferromax, stood defiant against an orc siege that had been underway for 6 days. Guard regiments held the walls, laser guns spitting red beams into green hordes that crashed against fortifications like tides. Orc artillery, crude cannons that shouldn't work but did, pounded the hive's upper levels, sending debris raining down on the defenders. Jin-Woo dropped from the Resolve Eternal without bothering with the assault landers. He simply stepped out of the cargo bay at 3,000 meters altitude and fell, using his wings to control descent. The guardsmen below watched a black comet streak down from the sky, impact cratering the ground just outside the hive's western gate, and from the dust cloud emerged a single figure in a black coat. The orcs noticed immediately. A warband of 200 greenskins charging the gate diverted toward this new target, bellowing their simple but effective war cry, "Wah!" Jin-Woo smiled. "Perfect," he said, and summoned his army. From his shadow erupted thousands of soldiers, human knights and mages from his original world, Tyranid bioforms from Volantis, the corrupted witch from the Chaos Cult, and most impressively, the enslaved Keeper of Secrets, towering 4 meters tall and radiating cold purple light. The orcs faltered. Even their simple minds recognized that something was wrong. The big thing, the demon-looking creature, should have felt right, should have felt like a good fight. Instead, it felt empty, dead, commanded by the small human who stood at the center of the shadow army with glowing eyes. "Attack!" Jin-Woo commanded. His army crashed into the orcs like a dark wave. Shadow soldiers wielding mana-forged blades carved through green flesh. The Keeper of Secrets, its 4 claws now serving absolute loyalty, tore through orc knobs like parchment. Tyrannid shadows, hormagaunts and carnifexes engaged their orc counterparts with savage efficiency. Jin-Woo walked through the carnage, Kamish's fang in hand, personally killing any orc that got close. Every kill fed his system. "You have slain, orc boy. You have slain, orc boy. You have slain, orc meganob." And with every kill, he extracted shadows. Arise. Orc corpses dissolved into purple-black energy and reformed as shadow soldiers. They retained their muscular frames, their crude weapons, their aggressive postures. But their eyes burned with purple light, and they served only him. The extracted orc shadows turned on their former comrades with mechanical efficiency, no longer caring about a good fight, only about executing their master's will. The orc war band broke within 5 minutes. Those that survived fled, their primitive instincts screaming that this fight was wrong, impossible, that the little human shouldn't be able to do what he was doing. Jin-Woo looked at his expanded army. 237 new orc shadows, including several knobs and a single meganob clad in crude-powered armor. Not bad for a skirmish. Sub-objective progress, 237 1,000 orc shadows extracted. On Ferromax's walls, Colonel Chiton of the 47th Volantis lowered his magnoculars slowly. He'd just watched a single individual, accompanied by an army that appeared from nowhere, annihilate 200 orcs in 5 minutes, and then convert their corpses into loyal servants. "Vox the command center," he said quietly. "Tell them the asset has deployed successfully. And tell them..." He paused, searching for words. "Tell them we may not need reinforcements after all." Jin-Woo looked up at the hive walls, then at the massive orc encampment visible in the distance. Crude tents and war machines, probably housing tens of thousands of greenskins. His smile widened. This was going to be fun. The orc, whoa! On Tyrax Prime had been building for 3 months before the Imperium took serious notice. What started as scattered raids by feral orc tribes had coalesced into something far more dangerous, a unified war effort led by a war boss named Grimscar, the Unstoppable. Grimscar wasn't just big, he was enormous even by orc standards, standing nearly 4 meters tall, his body a mountain of scarred green muscle encased in looted power armor painted garish red. He'd united 17 different clans under his banner by the simple expedient of killing any boss who disagreed with him. Now his Wah numbered somewhere between 800,000 and 1 million orcs, depending on who was counting and whether they included the Gretchen slaves. Jin-Woo studied the orc encampment from a ridge 3 kilometers away, his enhanced vision picking out details that would have required Imperial magnoculars. Crude fortifications, massive war engines that looked like they'd been assembled from scrap by drunk children, and everywhere, orcs, fighting each other, building weapons, eating, sleeping in massive piles. The whole encampment radiated chaotic energy that somehow held together through sheer collective belief. "That's where Grimscar holds court," Valdrich said, pointing to a massive structure at the camp's center, part fortress, part scrap pile, festooned with captured Imperial banners and Orc totems. Intelligence suggests he's planning a final assault on Ferromax within the week. If the hive falls, the entire planet falls. Then we kill him first, Jin-Woo said simply. Just like that, Colonel Kaiten had joined them on the ridge, his 47th Regiment positioned in defensive formations behind them. You're talking about fighting through 1,000,000 orcs to reach one target. I don't need to fight through them. I just need to kill enough that they stop being a problem. Jin-Woo stood, brushing dust from his coat. How long can your forces hold the hive's defenses? Days, maybe a week if we're lucky, Kitten said. Why? Because I'm going to thin their numbers significantly. Stay behind your walls and prepare for a counteroffensive. Jin-Woo started walking toward the orc camp. This won't take long. Wait, you're attacking now, alone? Valdrich caught up to him. Jin-Woo, strategic value aside, this is suicide. Even you can't fight 1,000,000 orcs simultaneously. Jin-Woo stopped and looked back at the Inquisitor. You're right. I can't fight 1,000,000 orcs simultaneously. His eyes glowed faint purple. But I don't have to. Watch. He shadow stepped forward, covering a kilometer in seconds, emerging from darkness at the edge of the orc encampment. The nearest orcs, a patrol group of 20 boys, spotted him immediately and charged with enthusiastic war cries. Jin-Woo drew Kamish's fang and went to work. The first orc died before it closed half the distance, Jin-Woo's blade punching through its skull with surgical precision. The second and third died in the same second, his speed making their crude choppas look like they were moving through molasses. By the time the rest of the patrol registered their comrades' deaths, half of them were already corpses. You have slain Orc Boy. You have slain Orc Boy. You have slain Orc Boy. 20 kills in 40 seconds. Jin-Woo placed his hand on the nearest corpse. Arise. Purple-black energy erupted. 20 orc shadows pulled themselves from their own bodies, their crude weapons reforming in shadow stuff, their eyes burning with unnatural light. They stood at attention, awaiting orders. Kill every orc you see, Jin-Woo commanded, except their war boss. I want him alive. The orc shadows charged into the camp, and chaos erupted. From the ridge, Valdrich watched through magnoculars as Jin-Woo's strategy became clear. Every orc the shadows killed, Jin-Woo extracted and added to his army. Every addition made his forces stronger. Within 20 minutes, he commanded 200 orc shadows. Within an hour, 500. The orcs tried to mount organized resistance, but their fundamental problem was that they were fighting copies of themselves, shadows that moved with orc aggression, but human tactical thinking. Emperor's mercy, Kaiten whispered. He's creating a geometric progression. For every orc that falls, his army grows. The more they fight, the faster they lose. And he's barely exerting himself, Valdrich added, tracking Jin-Woo's position. The entity moved through the camp like a scalpel, targeting knobs and mechs, orc leaders and engineers, leaving the rank-and-file boys for his shadow army to handle. Strategic, efficient, utterly ruthless. By nightfall, Jin-Woo commanded 3,000 orc shadows. The orc camp was in complete disarray, different clans turning on each other in confusion, trying to figure out why their fellow orcs were attacking them with such un-orky coordination. Some fled. Most fought. All died. Jin-Woo reached Grimscar's fortress after midnight. The war boss had finally realized something was very wrong. He'd assembled his biggest, toughest knobs, 50 of them, each a veteran of hundreds of fights, armed with power claws and custom shooters. They formed a defensive ring around their boss, who sat on a throne made of crushed Imperial tanks, his massive chopper resting across his knees. "So," Grimscar rumbled, his voice like grinding metal, "you're the one what's been crumping me, boys." Jin-Woo stepped into the fortress courtyard, alone. His shadow army waited outside, a dark tide of thousands ready to surge forward on his command. But he wanted to face the war boss personally. Something about orc psychology. They respected strength, worshipped violence. If he killed Grimscar in single combat, the remaining orcs would scatter completely. "Your war is over," Jin-Woo said. "Surrender or die." Grimscar laughed, a booming sound that shook the courtyard. "Surrender? Nah, little homie. Orcs don't surrender. We fight." He stood, his massive frame towering over Jin-Woo. "And you look like a proper scrap," the war boss charged. 4 meters of muscle and metal slammed into the ground where Jin-Woo had been standing, his chopper carving a trench in the rockcrete. Jin-Woo had shadow-stepped aside, appearing on Grimscar's left flank, Kamish's fang already swinging. The blade met power armor and carved through it. Green blood sprayed. Grimscar roared, not in pain, but in joy. A proper fight. Finally, he swung his chopper in a wide arc. Jin-Woo ducked under it, countered with 3 rapid strikes that opened wounds across the war boss's torso. Grimscar's knobs moved to intervene, but a wall of shadow soldiers erupted between them and their boss, blocking their advance. This was between Jin-Woo and Grimscar now. The fight lasted 4 minutes, an eternity in combat between beings of their caliber. Grimscar was strong, tough, and experienced. He'd killed hundreds of enemies in personal combat, survived artillery strikes, once headbutted a Carnifex to death. But Jin-Woo had killed monarchs, had fought beings that could reshape reality with thought. The war boss was formidable by his universe's standards. He wasn't a monarch. Jin-Woo's blade found Grimscar's throat on the 47th exchange. The war boss's eyes widened, not in fear, but in respect. "It's a good scrap," he gurgled through ruined vocal cords. "You're proper ard." Then he collapsed, his massive body hitting the ground like a felled tree. "You have slain War Boss Grimscar the Unstoppable. Legendary kill bonus, 100,000 XP. Level up. Level up. Current level 349. Jin-Woo placed his hand on the war boss's corpse. This extraction would be different, more powerful, more complex. Grimscar wasn't just any orc. He was a legend among his kind, a warrior who'd united tribes and conquered worlds. Arise. The extraction took 30 seconds, longer than any before it. Purple-black energy swirled around Grimscar's body, fighting against the orc's fundamental nature, which resisted even in death. But Jin-Woo's will was absolute. Death bowed to him, always. The shadow that rose was magnificent and terrible. 4 meters of muscle and shadow stuff, eyes burning purple, power armor reformed in darkness. Grimscar the Unstoppable, now Grimscar the Enslaved, stood before his new master and knelt. Legendary Shadow Soldier, War Boss Grimscar, obtained. Special ability unlocked, Wah, Energy Absorption. Description: Shadow War Boss can channel residual orc psychic energy to strengthen nearby shadow soldiers. Jin-Woo smiled. The system was adapting again, recognizing unique properties of this universe's species and incorporating them into his abilities. Orcs generated psychic energy through collective belief, a Wa field that made their impossible technology work and strengthen them in battle. Now his shadow war boss could tap into that same energy. Perfect. The remaining orc knobs stared in horror as their boss stood and bowed to the human. Their crude minds couldn't process it. Grimscar the Unstoppable, kneeling. Impossible, wrong, against everything orky. They broke. All 50 knobs fled in different directions, their morale shattered completely. Jin-Woo let them go. His shadow army pursued them through the camp, and by dawn, the Battle of Tyrax Prime was effectively over. Quest, Green Tide Rising complete. Objective achieved. 8-247 Orc Shadows extracted. Bonus, Objective achieved. War Boss eliminated. Rewards, $500,000 EXP. Skill evolution unlocked. Imperial reputation significantly increased. The aftermath took 3 days to process. Imperial Guard regiments swept through the Orc encampment, eliminating scattered resistance and burning the spore-producing fungal growths that would otherwise spawn new Orcs. Jin-Woo's shadow army helped, 8,000 Orc shadows working alongside human soldiers, following orders with mechanical precision that disturbed many guardsmen. It's unnatural, one sergeant muttered to his squad. They're still Xenos, even dead, even enslaved. They're still greenskin filth. But they follow orders, his corporal countered. Emperor knows our Orc auxiliaries never did that when they were alive. He paused. Can't believe I just said Orc auxiliaries. What's the galaxy coming to? Jin-Woo spent most of the cleanup phase in meditation, processing the system's notifications and managing his expanded army. 8,000 new shadows was significant. His total force now numbered over 13,000. Managing them required mental organization, categorizing them by capability and type. The system helped, of course. It had created sub-menus for different species: human shadows, tyrannid shadows, demon shadows, orc shadows. Each category could be deployed independently or combined for maximum effect. And now, with Grimscar providing energy absorption, his orc shadows were actually stronger than living orcs of equivalent rank. Fascinating, Magos Kellyan observed. The tech priest had arrived from Volantis specifically to study Jin-Woo's abilities. His mechadendrites twitched with barely contained curiosity as he scanned the shadow soldiers. The Xenos' biosignatures are present, but fundamentally altered. No genetic material remains, yet the forms persist. Your shadows exist in a state between matter and energy, neither truly physical nor purely psychic. Does that help you understand how to replicate it? Jin-Woo asked. Replicate? No. Your ability appears intrinsically tied to your unique nature. But understanding the principles might allow the Mechanicus to develop countermeasures against similar threats, or Kellyan's optical implants focused on Jin-Woo. Or it might help us comprehend the Emperor's own relationship with death and resurrection. That got Jin-Woo's attention. Explain. The Emperor died, by all accounts, during his battle with Horus. His body was shattered, his soul damaged beyond mortal healing. Yet he persists, bound to the Golden Throne, existing in a state that is neither life nor death. You claim to have died and returned. The parallel is suggestive. You think the Emperor and I are similar. I think you both exist in violation of natural law. The question is whether your violation can illuminate his. Kellyan's mechadendrites coiled thoughtfully. The Fabricator General will be most interested in my reports, as will the Custodes, no doubt. Jin-Woo had been expecting this conversation. Has Terra responded to Valdrich's inquiry? Not yet. Astropathic communication from Tyrax to Terra requires relay through multiple stations. Response time typically ranges from 2 to 6 weeks, assuming no warp storms interfere. Kellyan paused. But I have been authorized to extend an offer. The Mechanicus would sponsor your travel to Mars, our Forge world, for comprehensive study of your abilities. In exchange, we would provide technical support for your eventual journey to Terra, assuming the High Lords approve. Study means what, exactly? Non-invasive observation, analysis of your system interface, perhaps voluntary testing of your shadow extraction on various Xenos specimens we have preserved. Kellyan's voice took on a hungry edge. The Omnissiah's knowledge is incomplete. You represent a gap in our understanding. Help us fill that gap, and we will ensure your petition to approach the Golden Throne receives favorable technical assessment. Jin-Woo considered. The Mechanicus was offering political support in exchange for information. Smart, and he could use allies among the Imperium's major factions. Acceptable, but I have conditions. Name them. First, no attempts to replicate my abilities without my explicit consent. I'm willing to demonstrate and explain, not to have my nature weaponized by people I don't trust. Agreed, within reason. The Mechanicus cannot control all its Forge worlds, but I will ensure your restrictions are encoded in the highest priority data locks. Second, full access to your archives on the Emperor's condition. If I'm going to potentially help him, I need to understand exactly what's wrong. Kellyan hesitated. That information is restricted by order of the Adeptus Custodes. I cannot guarantee access. Then make it part of your sponsorship. Tell them I won't approach the Emperor blind. Either I get full briefing on his condition, or I don't go at all. The Mago's optical implants word processing. That may provoke resistance from the Custodes. They guard the Emperor's secrets zealously. Then they can explain to the High Lords why they prevented a potential solution to the Emperor's slow death because of bureaucratic paranoia. Jin-Woo's tone hardened. I'm offering to help, but I won't stumble around in the dark while politicians decide how much information I'm allowed to have. Boldly spoken. Kellyan's mechadendrites formed a gesture that might have been approval. Very well. I will convey your conditions to the Fabricator General. Expect response within 2 weeks. The Magos departed, his servo-skull attendants floating behind him like mechanical cherubs. Jin-Woo returned to his meditation, but not before noting the figure watching from the shadows of a nearby transport. Interrogator Kara, her expression unreadable. She approached after Kellyan left. You're making demands of the Mechanicus. Bold strategy. I'm establishing boundaries, Jin-Woo corrected. This Imperium of yours operates on hierarchy and power. If I act like a supplicant, I'll be treated like one. If I act like someone whose cooperation is valuable, I'll be negotiated with. And if they decide you're too dangerous to cooperate with, then we're back to the original agreement. I go my way, they go theirs. I don't need the Imperium's permission to exist. Jin-Woo met her gaze. But I suspect they need my help more than I need their approval. Kira smiled slightly. You're learning. That's good. The Imperium respects strength and confidence. Show weakness, and you'll be exploited or eliminated. She handed him a data slate. This is from Inquisitor Valdrich. New deployment orders. If you're interested. Jin-Woo scanned the slate. Necron Tomb world activation on Hadria 7th. Guard forces requesting immediate support. He looked up. Necrons. Ancient Xenos, older than humanity, possibly older than the galaxy's current state. They're machines housing the consciousness of an extinct organic species, buried in tomb worlds throughout the galaxy. When they wake, they're nearly unstoppable, self-repairing, armed with weapons that erase matter at the molecular level, led by near-immortal lords with strategic thinking that predates human civilization. And you want me to fight them? We want you to test whether your shadow extraction works on machines with consciousness. If Necrons can be converted, Kira's expression was carefully neutral. It would change everything. Again. Jin-Woo understood. Each new species he successfully extracted expanded his potential army and demonstrated his value to the Imperium. Tyranids, demons, orcs, all converted into loyal servants. If he could add Necrons to that list. New quest available quest. Tomb World Awakening. Objective: investigate Necron threat on Hadria 7. Sub-objective: determine if Necron warriors can be extracted as shadows. Reward: unique skill unlock, Imperial reputation increase. Difficulty: a rank. When do we deploy? Jin-Woo asked. Transport leaves tomorrow. But Jin-Woo... Kira hesitated. Be careful. Necrons aren't like orcs or Tyranids. They're intelligent, adaptive, and they've been waging war since before humanity invented fire. If they perceive you as a threat to their species, they'll try to kill me. Like everything else in this universe. Jin-Woo dismissed the data slate. I've died before. It didn't stick. I doubt ancient robots will do better. Kira left without another word. Jin-Woo returned to his meditation, but his mind was already planning. Necrons, mechanical beings with consciousness. Fascinating. In his original world, he'd extracted shadows from golems and constructs, proving that death applied to more than just organic life. If Necrons had consciousness, they could die. And if they could die, they could serve. Hadria 7th was a dead world. Gray dust, skeletal mountains, and a sky the color of old iron. Nothing grew here. Nothing lived. The planet had been scoured clean by ancient weapons millennia ago, its atmosphere reduced to a toxic haze that required sealed suits for human survival. But beneath the dead surface, something stirred. The Necron tomb had been buried 3 kilometers down, a vast complex of living metal and stasis chambers that had slept for 60 million years. An explorator team from the Mechanicus had discovered it 6 months ago while surveying the system for mineral resources. They'd reported their findings, been ordered to establish observation posts and maintain watch. 3 weeks ago, the tomb had activated. Jin-Woo stood at the edge of a massive crater where the Necrons had breached the surface. Emerald energy crackled along geometric patterns that hurt to look at. Technology so advanced, it might as well be magic. Imperial Guard forces had established a perimeter 2 kilometers back, heavy weapons trained on the breach, but nobody was eager to advance. Estimated Necron forces? Jin-Woo asked. Captain Drusus of the 12th Hadria's Defense Force consulted his tactical display. Auspex readings are unreliable. Their technology interferes with our instruments. But based on observed deployments, we're looking at anywhere from 5,000 to 50,000 Necron warriors, plus heavier units. Immortals, Lich Guard, possibly even Canoptech constructs. And their leader? Necron Overlord. We've designated it Zarathek the Endless, based on recovered glyphs. Intelligence suggests it's a mid-tier noble from the Sautic dynasty. Dangerous, strategic, and backed by warriors who literally cannot stay dead. They teleport back to the tomb for repair when destroyed. Jin-Woo absorbed this information, self-repairing enemies that could resurrect indefinitely. That was actually a problem. His shadow extraction worked on corpses, but if the corpses disappeared before he could extract them, his geometric progression strategy wouldn't function. He needed a new approach. What's the tomb's power source? Jin-Woo asked. Unknown. Necron technology predates human understanding. The Mechanicus believes they tap into fundamental forces, possibly the energy binding reality itself. Then I need to reach the tomb's central chamber and shut down their resurrection protocols before extracting shadows. Jin-Woo looked at the breach. How many Necron warriors between here and the center? Thousands at minimum, and they'll be defending their tomb with everything they have. Drusus paused. You're not seriously planning to assault a Necron tomb complex alone. Not alone. Jin-Woo summoned his shadow army. From darkness they emerged, 13,000 strong. Human knights and mages, Tyranid bioforms, orc shadows led by Grimskar's massive form, the corrupted witch, and the enslaved keeper of secrets. They materialized in perfect ranks, awaiting orders, a nightmare made manifest. The Imperial Guardsmen recoiled. Many had heard rumors, but seeing the Shadow Army in full deployment was different. 13,000 undead servants, completely silent, utterly obedient. It was an Inquisitor's worst nightmare, or greatest dream, depending on perspective. Emperor preserve us, Drusus whispered. Stay here, Jin-Woo said. If any Necrons break through, fall back to secondary positions. I'll handle the tomb. He walked toward the breach, his shadow army flowing behind him like a dark tide. The guardsmen watched in silence, some making the sign of the Aquila, others simply staring. Jin-Woo descended into the tomb. The interior was alien, corridors of living metal that shifted and reconfigured, walls covered in glyphs that pulsed with sickly green light, the air thick with energy that made his skin prickle. His senses painted a three-dimensional map as he advanced, detecting hundreds of Necron signatures ahead. The first contact came in a grand hallway. 20 Necron warriors materialized from alcoves, their skeletal metal frames moving with eerie precision, gauss flares raised. Green energy beams lanced out, molecular disintegration weapons that could reduce a human to atoms. Jin-Woo's shadow soldiers met them head-on. The beams struck shadow flesh and did less damage than they should have. The shadows weren't truly physical. They existed in a state between matter and energy. Molecular disintegration was less effective against targets that didn't have molecules to disintegrate. The Necrons adapted quickly, switching to melee protocols, their metal claws extending. But they were fighting 13,000 enemies in corridors designed for hundreds. Jin-Woo's forces swarmed them, tearing the ancient machines apart through sheer overwhelming force. A Necron warrior fell, its body sparking with emerald lightning as teleportation protocols activated. Jin-Woo shadow stepped to it instantly, placing his hand on the machine before it could vanish. Arise. The teleportation stuttered. Jin-Woo's power fought against Necron technology, Death's dominion wrestling with ancient resurrection protocols. For 3 seconds, neither side won. Then Jin-Woo's will asserted itself. He was the Shadow Monarch, death incarnate, and no machine would deny him. The Necron's form dissolved into shadow stuff and reformed. Its skeletal metal frame became shadow metal. Its gauss flare reformed as a weapon of condensed darkness. Its eyes shifted from green to purple. Shadow extraction successful. Shadow Soldier Necron Warrior obtained. Warning: Necron resurrection. Protocols overridden. Special property: Shadow Necrons retain technological capabilities. Jin-Woo smiled grimly. It worked. Necron warriors could be extracted, their consciousness bound to his will, their resurrection protocols permanently severed. They became his shadows, retaining their weapons and capabilities, but serving absolutely. Extract all fallen Necrons, he commanded his army. Prioritize capture over destruction. The battle intensified as Jin-Woo's forces pushed deeper into the tomb. Every fallen Necron became a shadow soldier before it could teleport away. His army grew. 13,000 became 14,000, then 15,000. The Necrons, for perhaps the first time in their 60-million-year existence, faced an enemy that stole their greatest advantage. They could not out-attrition something that grew stronger with every casualty. Jin-Woo reached the tomb's central chamber after 2 hours of continuous combat. The chamber was vast, a cathedral of living metal, dominated by a central throne where Zarathek the Endless waited. The Overlord was larger than its warriors, its frame more ornate, covered in glyphs of power and command. It held a war scythe, a weapon that could cut through reality itself, and regarded Jin-Woo with cold, calculating intelligence. "You are the anomaly," Zarathek said, its voice like grinding metal filtered through ancient translation protocols. "The one who enslaves the dead. We have detected your intrusion." "Your warriors serve me now," Jin-Woo said, gesturing to the 2,000 Necron shadows that now comprised part of his army. "Surrender, and you'll be treated with the respect due to a warrior. Resist and join them." Respect. The Overlord's laugh was a horrible sound, synthetic, emotionless, terrible. "We are the Sautek. We conquered the stars when your species was crawling from primordial slime. You offer us respect." Zarathek raised its war scythe. Around the chamber, alcoves opened, revealing 50 Lich-Guard, elite Necron warriors in heavy armor, wielding hyperphase swords and dispersion shields. They formed a protective ring around their Overlord, ready to defend him to their final deactivation. "We do not surrender," Zarathek declared. "We are endless. We are—" Jin-Woo moved. He shadow-stepped across the chamber, appearing behind the Lich-Guard formation, Kamish's fang already swinging. The blade carved through a Lich-Guard's neck joint, one of the few vulnerable points on their armored frames. The ancient warrior's head separated from its body, clattering to the floor in a shower of sparks. Jin-Woo placed his hand on the falling body. "Arise." The Lich-Guard reformed as a shadow before its resurrection protocol could activate. Its armor became shadow metal. Its hyperphase sword reformed as concentrated darkness, and it immediately turned on its former comrades with mechanical efficiency. The remaining Lich-Guard attacked as one, their coordination perfect, their tactics honed over millions of years. But Jin-Woo was faster. He moved through them like smoke, Kamish's fang finding joints and weak points, dismantling the ancient warriors with surgical precision. Every fallen Lich Guard became his shadow. Every shadow turned on the remaining defenders. Within 5 minutes, all 50 elite warriors served Jin-Woo absolutely. Zarathek stood alone. Impossible, the Overlord said. But for the first time, its voice carried something that might have been uncertainty. You cannot be. You violate fundamental laws. I am death, Jin-Woo interrupted, walking toward the throne. You tried to escape death 60 million years ago by transferring your consciousness into machines. You thought you could be endless, eternal, unstoppable. But death doesn't care about your technology. Death doesn't care about your dynasty. Death comes for everything eventually. He stopped at the base of the throne, looking up at the ancient being. I'm giving you a choice other species didn't get. Serve willingly, retain your consciousness and autonomy as my shadow, or resist and be broken down into base components. Either way, you're mine. But if you choose service, I'll let you keep thinking, keep planning, keep being Zarathek the Endless. The Overlord was silent for a long moment. Its computational matrix ran probability calculations, strategic assessments, considering options. It had ruled for millions of years, had commanded fleets that scoured galaxies, had witnessed the birth and death of civilizations. And now it faced something that truly frightened it. Not destruction, which was reversible, but absolute domination by a force it couldn't comprehend. What guarantee do I have that you will honor this offer? Zarathek finally asked. None. You have my word, which means nothing to you, and the evidence of how I've treated my other shadow commanders. Jin-Woo gestured to Grimskar, standing at the chamber entrance, the war boss's shadow form radiating power, autonomous but loyal. I don't need mindless servants. I need generals, commanders, strategic thinkers. Serve with your mind intact, and you'll fight battles worthy of your heritage. Zarathek's optical sensors focused on Grimskar, then on the Keeper of Secrets visible behind the war boss. Both retained obvious autonomy. Both clearly served this impossible entity by choice, or at least by a choice they'd been allowed to make. The Overlord made its decision. I accept your terms, Shadow Monarch. I, Zarathek the Endless of the Sautek dynasty, pledge service to your cause. The Overlord stood and knelt, a gesture that went against millions of years of pride and autonomy. Should you prove false, I will find a way to destroy you. But until then, I serve. Jin-Woo placed his hand on Zarathek's shoulder. Then arise, Zarathek the Endless, and remain endless in my service. The extraction was different this time, consensual rather than forced. The Overlord's consciousness transitioned smoothly into shadow form, its war scythe reforming as a weapon of pure darkness, its ornate frame becoming shadow metal that pulsed with purple light. Legendary Shadow Soldier, Necron Overlord Zarathek, obtained. Special ability unlocked. Ancient strategic protocols. Description: Shadow Overlord can coordinate Shadow Necron forces with million-year-old tactical knowledge. Jin-Woo looked at his expanded army. 15,000 shadows now, including 2,000 Necron warriors, 50 Lich Guard, and a Necron Overlord. 3 legendary commanders, Grimskar, the Keeper of Secrets, and now Zarathek. Multiple species, multiple capabilities, all serving absolutely. Quest: Tomb World Awakening complete. Objective achieved. Necron extraction confirmed viable. Bonus objective: Achieved, Necron Overlord recruited. Rewards, 750,000 OEXP. Skill evolution unlocked. Imperial reputation massively increased. Level up, level up, level up. Current level 352. Jin-Woo ascended from the tomb to find the Imperial Guard forces in defensive positions, weapons trained on the breach. They tensed as his shadow army emerged, 15,000 strong now, including the obviously alien Necron warriors. Captain Drusus stared in shock. You captured them? The Necrons? I recruited them, Jin-Woo corrected. The tomb is secure. The threat is neutralized. Your planet is safe. Safe. Drusus laughed, a slightly hysterical sound. You turned a Necron invasion into a recruiting opportunity. Emperor's throne. What are you? Jin-Woo didn't answer. He was already checking the system's notifications, noting that a new message had appeared while he was underground. Priority communication received. Source, Holy Terra. Subject, petition to approach Golden Throne. Status, approved with conditions. Jin-Woo opened the message, reading quickly. The High Lords had reviewed his case. The Adeptus Custodes had assessed his threat level. The Mechanicus had provided technical support for his petition. And after weeks of deliberation, they were allowing him to approach Terra. But there were conditions, many conditions. He'd be under constant observation. He'd submit to psychic scanning by the Emperor's most trusted psychers. He'd demonstrate his shadow extraction capabilities for the Custodes' assessment. And he'd accept absolute authority of the Captain General while on Terra. Jin-Woo smiled. They were terrified of him, but desperate enough to risk it. Perfect. Prepare a transport, he told Drusus. I'm going to Terra. When? Immediately. Jin-Woo looked up at the gray sky, his senses reaching out across 47,000 light-years, feeling that distant presence, the dying God Emperor who'd held back darkness for 10 millennia. I've kept him waiting long enough. The journey to Terra took 43 days through the warp. Jin-Woo traveled aboard the Eternal Vigil, an inquisitorial black ship specially commissioned for his transport. The vessel was enormous, a cathedral in void-faring form, bristling with weapons batteries, void shields, and enough sanctified relics to outfit a dozen chapels. Inquisitor Valdrich had insisted on accompanying him, along with Interrogator Kara, Magos Kellion, and a full complement of inquisitorial stormtroopers. Also aboard, Brother Captain Artemis of the Death Watch, assigned by the Ordo Xenos to monitor Jin-Woo's activities. The Space Marine was a veteran of 3 centuries service, his black armor decorated with Xenos kill markings from a dozen species. He'd made his position clear in their first meeting. I'm here to assess whether you're an asset or a threat. Pray you remain the former. Jin-Woo had simply nodded. He understood the precaution. Most of his shadow army traveled in the cargo holds, stored in a compressed state that required minimal space. Only his 3 legendary commanders remained fully manifested: Grimskar, Zarathek, and the Keeper of Secrets. They stood like silent sentinels in Jin-Woo's personal quarters, autonomous but loyal, each representing a different conquered species. The ship's navigator, a woman named Cassiel, avoided Jin-Woo's quarters entirely. His presence is disturbing, she told Valdrich. When I look at him with my warp sight, I see nothing. An absence, like staring into a void that stares back. The shadows around him move wrong, exist in spaces between spaces. It makes navigation difficult. Can you still guide us to Terra? Valdrich had asked. Yes. but I don't like it. Jin-Woo spent most of the voyage in meditation, studying the system's new abilities and preparing for what awaited on Terra. The system had evolved significantly since his arrival in this universe, adapting to incorporate new species and capabilities. Shadow Monarch System, status update. Current level, 352, Shadow Army size, 15,247, Legendary Commanders. 3 new abilities unlocked. Xenomorph Adaptation. Shadow Army can incorporate alien physiology and abilities. Warp Resistance. Immunity to demonic corruption and psychic domination. Resurrection. Override. Can extract shadows from self-resurrecting enemies before protocols activate. Ancient Knowledge Access. Can access strategic information from conquered commanders. Quest progress. Investigate Terra. Status. In transit, estimated time to objective. 11 days. Jin-Woo closed the interface and turned his attention to Zarathek, who stood motionless near the viewport, observing the roiling chaos of the warp outside. The Necron Overlord had proven surprisingly talkative once converted to shadow form. His millions of years of tactical experience made him an invaluable strategic advisor. "You are contemplating the Golden Throne," Zarathek said without turning. His voice had changed subtly in shadow form, still synthetic, but with an undertone of something almost organic. The dying God King of this crude biological empire. You know about the Emperor. The Necrontyr fought the Old Ones when this galaxy was young. We witnessed the birth of gods and the death of species. Your Emperor. Zarathek finally turned, his purple optical sensors focusing on Jin-Woo. He is powerful, yes, ancient by human standards, but he is not eternal. He bleeds essence every moment, holding back forces he cannot defeat, only delay. You seek to change this, if I can. An admirable goal, futile, perhaps, but admirable. Zarathek's tone carried what might have been respect. In my reign, I attempted to resurrect my people from biotransference, to restore flesh to metal, mortality to the endless. I failed. Some transformations cannot be reversed, Shadow Monarch. Some deaths cannot be undone. The Emperor isn't dead, not yet. No, but he exists in a state worse than death. Conscious but imprisoned, powerful but helpless, commanding armies but unable to act directly. If you can free him from that state. Zarathek paused. Then you will have accomplished what billions of years of Necron technology could not. You will have proven that death truly bows to your will. Jin-Woo said nothing. The Overlord's words echoed his own concerns. He'd extracted shadows from fallen enemies, converted defeated foes into loyal servants. But the Emperor wasn't defeated. He was trapped, his body destroyed, but his consciousness intact, bound to a machine that was simultaneously keeping him alive and slowly killing him. Could Jin-Woo's power work on something that was neither fully alive nor truly dead? The system seemed to think so. But the system had been wrong before. We'll find out soon enough, Jin-Woo said. 10 days later, the eternal vigil dropped from the warp at the edge of the Sol system. Jin-Woo stood on the observation deck, staring at the star ahead. Sul, humanity's birthplace, a yellow dwarf that had nurtured the species from primitive mammals to galactic conquerors. And orbiting that star, third from the sun, Terra itself. Holy Terra. Throne world. The beating heart of the Imperium of Man. From this distance, Jin-Woo could barely make out the planet, a blue-gray sphere wrapped in orbital defense stations, shipyards, and weapons platforms. The system painted tactical data across his vision. Thousands of ships in system, millions of defense installations, energy signatures that suggested weapons capable of destroying fleets. And beneath all that, on the planet's surface, in a palace that covered a continent, him, the Emperor. That distant presence Jin-Woo had felt since arriving in this universe, now close enough to truly sense. Proximity. Alert. Dying monarch. Signature detected. Distance. 148,000 kilometers. Condition. Critical. Power output. Massive but declining. Recommendation. Immediate investigation. Impressive, isn't it? Valdric joined him at the viewport. The most heavily defended system in the galaxy. More firepower concentrated here than in entire segmentum fleets elsewhere. If someone wanted to strike at the Imperium's heart, they'd need to get through defenses that have repelled demon incursions, orc wars, and hive fleet tendrils. And they're letting me approach, Jin-Woo observed. Under very specific conditions. The moment we enter Terra's orbital space, you'll be under constant Auspex surveillance. A full strike force of Adeptus Custodes will meet our ship. You'll be required to dismiss your shadow army, all of it, before setting foot on the planet. And you'll submit to psychic examination by the Emperor's most trusted sanctioned psychers. All reasonable precautions. Are you being sarcastic? No. If I were them, I'd do the same. Jin-Woo turned from the viewport. They're allowing a potential threat near their dying god. Of course they'll take precautions. The question is whether those precautions will interfere with what I need to do. Which is, examine the Emperor directly, understand his condition, determine if my power can help him. Jin-Woo met Valdric's gaze, and if it can, decide whether I should. Valdric's augmetic eye focused sharply. Explain that last part. Your Emperor has been imprisoned on the Golden Throne for 10,000 years, conscious but immobile, powerful but helpless, slowly dying while maintaining the Astronomicon and holding back demonic forces. Jin-Woo's expression was thoughtful. If I can help him, it will likely mean changing his current state, possibly even killing and resurrecting him as something else. Are you prepared for that? Is the Imperium prepared for a God Emperor who's been fundamentally altered? The Inquisitor was silent for a long moment. You're saying you might have to kill the Emperor to save him. I'm saying I don't know what I'll need to do until I examine him, but yes, that's a possibility. My power works on death. If the Emperor needs to die, truly die, before being reborn as something else, then that's what might be required. The Custodes will never allow it. Then we'll have a problem. Jin-Woo turned back to the viewport, watching Terra grow larger as the ship accelerated in-system. But I suspect when faced with the choice between a dying Emperor who will fail eventually and a transformed Emperor who might actually survive, they'll choose survival. You have a lot of faith in the Imperium's pragmatism. I have faith in humanity's survival instinct. You've held the Imperium together for 10,000 years through faith, fear, and sheer desperation. When I show you a path forward, you'll take it, because the alternative is watching everything collapse. Valdric wanted to argue, but couldn't. Everything Jin-Woo said was true. The Imperium was dying, slowly, inexorably, held together by dogma and the Emperor's fading light. If this entity truly could save the Emperor, could give humanity's God King actual survival instead of slow decline, how could they refuse? We'll arrive at Terra in 6 hours, Valdrich said quietly. I suggest you prepare. The custodes don't tolerate weakness or uncertainty. Show them either, and they'll remove you from the planet by force. I'll keep that in mind, Jin-Woo said. The Adeptus custodes met them at the orbital dock. 10 of them, each standing over 3 meters tall in golden auramite armor, wielding guardian spears that crackled with power fields. They moved with grace that belied their size, gene-crafted warriors built by the Emperor himself during the Great Crusade, each one worth 100 Space Marines, each one absolutely loyal to their master. Their leader, Tribune Maxentius Vol, stood at the front of the formation. His armor was more ornate than his subordinates, marked with honors earned over 3 centuries of service. He regarded Jin-Woo with eyes that had witnessed the galaxy's worst horrors and remained unbroken. Sung Jin-Woo, Vol said, his voice resonant with authority. You stand on the threshold of Holy Terra by special dispensation of the High Lords and conditional approval of Captain General Valoris himself. Before you may proceed, you will submit to examination and restriction. I understand, Jin-Woo said calmly. First, dismiss your shadow army, all of it, no exceptions. Jin-Woo reached out mentally to his 15,000 shadows, currently compressed in the Eternal Vigil's cargo holds. With a thought, he sent them into storage, not dismissed entirely, but withdrawn into the space between spaces where his power dwelt. They'd remain there, inactive, until he called them again. Done. Vol's expression didn't change. Second, you will allow sanctioned psychers to examine your essence. They will determine if you carry warp taint or demonic corruption. 2 figures emerged from behind the custodes, psychers in heavy robes, their heads shaved, their eyes covered with blessed blindfolds. They approached Jin-Woo cautiously, extending their consciousness toward him with practiced care. Jin-Woo felt their probe, gentle at first, then more insistent, trying to read his aura, his soul, his connection to the immaterium. They found nothing. No warp presence, no demonic taint, no psychic signature at all. Just emptiness, a void where a human should be. One psyker stumbled backward, gasping. He's clean, no corruption. But there's nothing there. It's like he doesn't exist in the warp at all. He's outside, the second psyker confirmed, her voice tight with strain. Beyond the immaterium's touch, neither blessed nor cursed. Just absent. Vol processed this information. Third, you will wear a tracking device at all times while on Terra. Your location will be monitored continuously. A servitor approached, carrying a thin band of metal. Jin-Woo extended his wrist, allowing the device to be clamped around it. The metal was warm against his skin, inscribed with microscopic runes that pulsed with faint power. Fourth, you will be escorted by Custodes guards at all times. They have authority to terminate you if you deviate from approved protocols. Understood. Fifth, and most important, you will not approach the Golden Throne without explicit permission from Captain General Valoris. You will wait in the sanctioned quarters until such time as the Captain General determines your request can be honored. This may take days, weeks, or months. You will wait as long as necessary. Jin-Woo nodded. May I ask one question? Vol's expression remained neutral. Ask. The Emperor's condition. How long does he actually have? The Tribune was silent for several seconds. Finally, the Mechanicus estimates catastrophic failure of the Golden Throne's core systems within 5 to 50 years. The Emperor's own power continues to decline despite the daily sacrifice of Psychers. He is fading, slowly but measurably. 50 years at most, Jin-Woo said, and probably much less. The throne is 10,000 years old. We've always known it would fail eventually. The Mechanicus works constantly on repairs, but the technology predates even the dark age of technology. We lack complete understanding of its function. Val's tone carried a weight of millennia. If you truly can help him, we will accept that help. But if you prove false, if you threaten the Emperor in any way, I will personally ensure you never leave this system. Then we understand each other, Jin-Woo said. I'm here to help, not to threaten. Show me where I need to wait. The sanctioned quarters were palatial by Jin-Woo's standards, a suite of rooms in one of the Imperial Palace's countless administrative wings, decorated with Gothic architecture and religious iconography. Servo skulls floated through the corridors outside, monitoring everything. 2 custodes stood guard at his door, their golden armor gleaming in the dim light. Jin-Woo sat cross-legged on the floor, ignoring the ornate furniture, and opened his system interface. Current location: Imperial Palace. Terra. Distance to dying monarch: 47 kilometers. Interference detected. Massive psychic field surrounding target. Analysis: target maintains barrier preventing direct examination. 47 kilometers. The Emperor was that close, yet Jin-Woo still couldn't properly sense his condition. Whatever psychic barriers surrounded the Golden Throne, they were powerful enough to interfere even with the system's scanning capabilities. He needed direct access. Days passed. Jin-Woo meditated, exercised, studied the system's documentation on death-related abilities. Valdric visited occasionally, bringing updates on the deliberations. The High Lords were debating. The Adeptus Custodes were conducting their own assessments. The Ecclesiarchy, the Imperium's religious authority, was deeply opposed, calling Jin-Woo's very presence heretical. They're afraid, Valdric said during one visit. The Emperor is their god. The thought of someone potentially altering him, changing his nature, even if it saves him, it terrifies them. Fear is understandable, Jin-Woo said. But fear doesn't change reality. The Emperor is dying. They can accept my help or watch him fade. Those are the only options. On the 7th day, Tribune Val arrived personally. Captain General Valoris has made his decision, Val announced. You will be granted conditional access to the Golden Throne. Tomorrow at dawn, you will be escorted to the Sanctum Imperialis. You will have 1 hour to examine the Emperor and determine if your abilities can help him. If you determine they can, you will present your findings to a council consisting of the Captain General, 3 High Lords, the Fabricator General, and the Ecclesiarch. They will decide whether to authorize intervention. Jin-Woo stood. 1 hour is acceptable. Understand something, Val said, his tone deadly serious. The Adeptus Custodes have guarded the Emperor for 10,000 years. We have failed him once, allowing Horus to wound him so grievously that he was bound to the throne. We will not fail him again. If your examination causes him any harm, any deterioration in his condition, you will die before you can take another breath. Am I clear? Perfectly clear, Jin-Woo said. But you should understand something as well, Tribune. I've died before. It didn't stop me. If I decide the Emperor needs my help, and if you try to prevent me from giving it, you'll learn exactly why death bows to my will. The 2 warriors, one gene forged by a god, one transformed by mysterious powers, stared at each other in silence. Finally, Vol nodded. "Dawn, then. Be ready." The Sanctum Imperialis lay at the heart of the Imperial Palace, buried beneath kilometers of fortification, shielding, and sacred wards. Jin-Woo descended through levels of increasing sanctity, each guarded by more custodes, each decorated with more religious iconography. With him came Tribune Vol and 9 other custodes, their guardian spears ready. Also present, Captain General Valoris himself, leader of the Adeptus Custodes, his armor more magnificent than any Jin-Woo had seen, his presence radiating authority that came from 10,000 years of unbroken duty. "Few outsiders have entered this sanctum," Valoris said as they walked. His voice was deep, resonant, carrying the weight of ages. "You should feel honored." "I feel aware," Jin-Woo corrected. "Honored implies this is a privilege." "I'm here to work." Valoris's expression didn't change, but something in his posture suggested approval. "Direct. Good. We've had enough sycophants and priests offering empty prayers. The Emperor needs solutions, not devotion." They reached a massive door, adamantium, inscribed with words of power, sealed with locks that required 3 different keys to open. Beyond it, a bridge stretched across a vast chamber, and at the bridge's end, the Golden Throne. Jin-Woo stopped, his breath catching despite himself. It was massive, a construct of golden machinery and esoteric technology, wreathed in psychic lightning, humming with power that made the air itself vibrate. Tubes and cables, thick as tree trunks, connected to walls covered in control systems. Banks of cogitators processed incomprehensible amounts of data. And at the center, seated on a throne that was part chair, part life support, part prison, the Emperor of mankind, or what remained of him. Jin-Woo had expected a corpse. What he saw was worse. The Emperor's body was ancient beyond measure. Flesh like dried parchment stretched over bones, skin cracked and bleeding from wounds that wouldn't heal, muscles atrophied from 10 millennia of immobility. The left side of his face was burned away, exposing bone and synthetic reconstruction. One arm ended in a stump where Horus's chain fist had severed it. But his eyes were open. Golden eyes that blazed with power and pain, consciousness that had endured for 10,000 years without rest, without sleep, without respite. Those eyes tracked Jin-Woo's approach, focusing on him with terrible intensity. And Jin-Woo felt the Emperor's psychic presence, vast, incomprehensible, a consciousness so large it filled the entire solar system and beyond. The Astronomicon, the psychic lighthouse that guided ships through the warp, emanated from this broken body. Simultaneously, the Emperor's will held shut a tear in reality beneath the palace, the webway breach that Magnus the Red had created during the Horus Heresy, a wound that would spill demons endlessly if not constantly suppressed. All this from a body that was more corpse than living thing. Analysis complete. Target, God Emperor of Mankind. Condition, critical. Status, neither alive nor dead. Perpetual state maintained by Golden Throne. Psychic output, immeasurable. Physical body, 98% necrotic. Consciousness, active but imprisoned. Prognosis, terminal without intervention. Assessment, resurrection possible. Method, complete death followed by shadow extraction and rebirth. Risk level extreme. Warning, removing Emperor from throne will collapse. Astronomicon and release, webway breach. Jin-Woo read the system's analysis carefully. Yes, he could help the Emperor, but the method would require the Emperor to die completely. Not this half-death he currently endured, but true death, before being resurrected as Jin-Woo's shadow and then potentially restored to full life. And the moment the Emperor left the throne, even temporarily, the Astronomicon would fail and demons would pour through the webway breach. 1 hour, Valoris reminded him. What do you see? Jin-Woo approached the throne slowly, his senses extending toward the Emperor's presence. Up close, the damage was even more apparent. This body should not be alive. By every natural law, it should have died the moment Horus's fatal blow landed. Only the Emperor's tremendous willpower and the Golden Throne's support kept him functional. But functional wasn't living. This was torture, eternal, unending torture. I can help him, Jin-Woo said finally. But the method is complicated. Explain, Valoris demanded. The Emperor is trapped between life and death. His body is destroyed beyond normal healing, but his consciousness refuses to fade. The Golden Throne maintains this state, but it's failing. Jin-Woo gestured at the machinery. Your Mechanicus priests are right. This technology won't last another 50 years, probably less. We know this. Tell us something new. My power commands death. I can extract shadows from fallen enemies, binding their consciousness to my will and giving them new forms. In theory, I could do the same for the Emperor. Let him die completely, extract his shadow, and resurrect him in a new body free from these wounds. The Custodes tensed. Valoris's hand moved toward his guardian spear. You propose to kill the Emperor. I propose to let him die properly, instead of forcing him to endure this half-life for eternity. Then I'd bring him back, whole and healed. Jin-Woo met the Captain General's gaze. But there are complications. The moment he leaves the throne, the Astronomicon fails. Ships throughout the galaxy lose navigation. And the webway breach beneath this palace, what is it exactly? A tear in reality created by Magnus, the Red's ill-conceived attempt to warn the Emperor about Horus's treachery, Valoris said grimly. It opened a passage directly into the warp. For 10,000 years, the Emperor has held it closed with his will. If he stops, even for seconds, demons will pour through in unlimited numbers. Then that's the first problem to solve. Jin-Woo turned to study the massive chamber. Before the Emperor can be removed from the throne, the webway breach needs to be permanently sealed. Can the Mechanicus do it? We've tried for millennia. The breach is beyond our technology to close. Then I need to see it. Valoris hesitated, then nodded. This way. They descended further, past the Golden Throne into sub-levels that few living beings had ever entered. The air grew heavier, charged with psychic energy that made Jin-Woo's skin prickle. And finally, they reached it. The webway breach. It was a tear in space itself, roughly circular, perhaps 50 meters across. Through it, Jin-Woo could see the warp, roiling madness, impossible colors, shapes that hurt to perceive. Demons pressed against the breach's edges, held back only by the Emperor's will, by wards and barriers that flickered and sparked with the strain of 10,000 years. Structural anomaly detected. Classification: dimensional tear, connection to immaterium. Status: partially sealed by external force. Current stability: 47%. Assessment: cannot be permanently sealed by conventional means. Jin-Woo studied the breach carefully. The system was right. Conventional sealing wouldn't work. The tear was too large, too fundamental. It needed something else. Then inspiration struck. "I can seal it," Jin-Woo said. "How?" Valoris demanded. "My shadows exist outside the warp. They're not vulnerable to demonic corruption, can't be possessed or controlled by chaos. If I position enough shadows at this breach, create a living wall of death-aspected entities, they could hold the demons back indefinitely." Jin-Woo turned to face the Captain General. "I have 15,000 shadows currently in storage. That's not enough. But if you give me time to build my army further, to extract shadows from sufficient enemies, I could create a force large enough to permanently guard this breach." "You propose to replace the Emperor's will with your shadow army," Valoris said slowly. "Processing the implications. Yes, it would free him from having to maintain the seal constantly. He could focus his power elsewhere, on the Astronomicon, on other critical needs. Or," Jin-Woo paused, "or he could finally rest while I resurrect him properly." Valoris was silent for a long moment, his tactical mind running scenarios. "How many shadows would you need?" "Minimum 50,000, ideally 100,000 or more. The breach is large, the demon pressure constant. I'd need enough forces to rotate them, maintain constant vigilance, respond to major incursions." "And how long would it take you to build such an army?" "That depends on how many enemies you point me toward. Tyranid hive fleets, orc wars, chaos incursions. Every battle where I'm deployed, my army grows. Give me a year, maybe 2, with active combat deployment, and I could have the numbers needed." "A year," Valoris repeated. "The Emperor might not have a year." "Then we work faster. Multiple deployments simultaneously. I take the most dangerous battlefields, the largest concentrations of enemies. Build my army through constant warfare." Jin-Woo's expression was determined. "It's possible, but only if the Imperium commits to it. Full military support, transportation, logistics, targeting priority enemies I can convert effectively." Valoris turned to stare at the webway breach, at the demons that pressed eternally against the Emperor's will. His brother Custodes had died holding this breach during the Webway War. Thousands of golden warriors, the Emperor's finest, slaughtered by demons that poured through in unlimited numbers before the Emperor had sealed it partially with his own body. To finally, truly seal it. "I need to consult with the High Lords," Valoris said. "This is beyond my authority to approve alone. But," he looked at Jin-Woo, "I believe the Emperor would want this. He's been imprisoned for 10,000 years, maintaining that seal through sheer force of will. If you can truly free him, give him rest or resurrection, yes, I believe he would want that." They returned to the Sanctum Imperialis. Jin-Woo stood again before the Golden Throne, looking up at the Emperor's ravaged face. And for the first time, he felt a response. Not words, the Emperor was beyond speech, but a presence, a consciousness vast and ancient, reaching out to touch Jin-Woo's mind. For 3 seconds, they connected, the dying god and the shadow monarch, 2 beings who commanded death in different ways. Jin-Woo felt the Emperor's agony. 10,000 years of pain, of duty, of sacrifice, holding the Imperium together through sheer willpower, guiding humanity from a prison of flesh and metal, unable to act, unable to rest, unable to die. And beneath the pain, something else, hope. Fragile, barely there but present. Hope that this strange outsider, truly could end the suffering, could free him from the Golden Throne's eternal torture. The connection severed. Jin-Woo stepped back, breathing heavily. Direct contact with the Emperor's consciousness was overwhelming, like touching a star, like drowning in an ocean of power and pain. He wants this, Jin-Woo said quietly. He wants to be free. Then we will make it happen, Valorous declared. I will convene an emergency session of the High Lords. Your proposal will be presented formally. And if they approve... He placed a massive hand on Jin-Woo's shoulder, not threatening, but almost paternal. Then you will have the full might of the Imperium behind you. Every resource, every military asset, every soldier we can spare. You will build your army, seal the breach, and free the Emperor from his prison. And after, Jin-Woo asked. After the breach is sealed and the Emperor is freed, then we will see if you can truly resurrect a god, Valorous said. And if you succeed, the Imperium will owe you a debt that can never be repaid. Jin-Woo looked up at the Emperor one last time. The golden eyes met his, and in them Jin-Woo saw something he recognized. The gaze of someone who had endured too much, suffered too long, and was ready for whatever came next. I'll do it, Jin-Woo promised. I'll free you, whatever it takes. The Emperor's eyes closed, the first time in millennia, according to the attending tech priests, shocked gasps. A single gesture of acknowledgement, of trust. The Shadow Monarch had made a promise to the God Emperor, and Jin-Woo never broke his promises. The High Lords convened an emergency session within hours of Valorous' petition. 12 of the most powerful individuals in the Imperium gathered in the Senatorum Imperialis, a chamber so vast its ceiling disappeared into shadow, its walls lined with statues of heroes long dead. Each High Lord commanded a critical aspect of imperial governance: military, economic, religious, administrative. Together they ruled humanity in the Emperor's name. Jin-Woo stood before them, flanked by Tribune Vol and 4 custodes, while Valorous presented the proposal. The entity known as Sung Jin-Woo has demonstrated capabilities unprecedented in imperial history, Valorous said, his voice echoing through the chamber. He can convert fallen enemies into absolutely loyal servants. He has proven this with tyrannids, demons, orcs, and necrons. He proposes to build an army of 100,000 such shadows and use them to permanently seal the webway breach, freeing the Emperor from that eternal duty. Heresy, declared Ecclesiarch Diasis Nime immediately. The religious leader stood, his ornate robes sweeping the floor, his face flushed with righteous anger. You propose to replace the Emperor's divine will with Xenos abominations and enslaved demons. This is blasphemy of the highest order. This is pragmatism, countered Lord Commander Militant Helveticus, speaking for the Astra Militarum. The Emperor's current state is unsustainable. The Golden Throne fails incrementally every year. If this entity can provide an alternative that involves defiling the Emperor's sacrifice, Diasis's voice rose to a shout. The Emperor sits upon the Golden Throne willingly, holding back darkness so humanity may survive. To remove him is to question his judgment, his sacrifice, his divinity itself. The Emperor is dying, Jin-Woo said quietly. The chamber fell silent. All eyes turned to him. You may call it sacrifice, Jin-Woo continued. You may call it divine duty. But I've examined him directly. His body is 98% necrotic. His consciousness is fragmented from 10,000 years of constant psychic strain. The Golden Throne isn't preserving him, it's slowly killing him, while forcing him to remain conscious through the process. He met Diasis's furious gaze. That's not sacrifice, that's torture. How dare you? I dare because I've died and returned. I understand death in ways you never will. Jin-Woo's voice remained calm, but carried absolute certainty. The Emperor wants this. I felt his presence, touched his consciousness. He's tired, Ecclesiarch. 10 millennia tired. He wants to be free. You claim to speak for the Emperor? Diasis's face was purple with rage. You, an outsider who appeared from nowhere, presume to interpret the God Emperor's will? I don't presume. I listened. Jin-Woo turned to address all the High Lords. You asked me here to help. I'm telling you how. Build my army, seal the breach, free the Emperor. Or don't, and watch him fade over the next few decades while your Imperium collapses around you. Those are your options. Fabricator General Ipluvian Maximal spoke next, his synthesized voice emotionless. The Mechanicus calculates a 67% probability that the Golden Throne will experience catastrophic failure within 50 years. Probability increases to 89% within 100 years. The entity's proposal offers higher probability of Emperor survival than current trajectory. Survival as what? Desus demanded. This creature proposes to kill and resurrect the Emperor as one of his shadows. That would make the God Emperor of mankind a slave to a Xenos entity. Not a slave, Jin-Woo corrected. I told Captain General Valoris the same thing I'll tell you. My legendary shadow commanders retain full consciousness and autonomy. Zarathek, Grimscar, the Keeper of Secrets, they served me by choice, not compulsion. The Emperor would be the same, resurrected, healed, free from the Golden Throne's prison, but retaining his full divine consciousness and power. You cannot guarantee that. No, Jin-Woo admitted. I can't. This would be unprecedented even for me, resurrecting something as powerful as the Emperor, but I'm offering you a chance, the only chance you have. Lord Commander Militant Helveticus stood. I moved to approve the entity's proposal with conditions. First, he will be assigned to the most dangerous war zones in the Imperium, places where casualty rates are highest and enemy numbers greatest. Second, he will be monitored constantly by inquisitorial and custodes observers. Third, should his shadow army reach the required 100,000, he will seal the webway breach under direct supervision before any attempt to resurrect the Emperor is permitted. I second the motion, said Master of the Administratum, Lectorus Karth. The Emperor's current condition is untenable. If this being can provide a solution, we must pursue it. I object strenuously, Desus stood again. This is... Noted, Valoris interrupted. Ecclesiarch, your objection is recorded, but the Adeptus Custodes support this proposal. We have guarded the Emperor for 10,000 years and watched him suffer every moment. If there is even a chance to end his torment, we will take it. The vote was called. 8 High Lords in favor, 3 opposed, 1 abstaining. The proposal passed. Jin-Woo felt no satisfaction, only determination. He'd been given authorization, resources, and the full backing of the Imperium's military might. Now came the hard part. Where do I start? He asked. Lord Commander Helveticus activated a holo display. The galaxy appeared in miniature, spinning slowly, with red markers indicating threats. There were hundreds of them. Hive Fleet Jormungandr, is devouring the Cryptus system, estimated 3 billion Tyranids. War boss Urgok the Eternal leads a wall of 2 million orcs through the Sharadan sector. A chaos incursion near the Eye of Terror has opened 17 warp rifts, with demon forces numbering in the millions. The Maelstrom Zone is experiencing unprecedented chaos activity, and a Necron dynasty has awakened in all of them, Jin-Woo interrupted. Helveticus stopped. Excuse me. I'll take all of them, simultaneously. Send me coordinates, and I'll deploy my shadow army in divisions across multiple theaters. I'll personally travel between battlefields, extracting shadows and reinforcing wherever needed most. Jin-Woo studied the tactical display. If you want 100,000 shadows, I'll need to fight on every front. So that's what I'll do. That's impossible, one of the other High Lords said. Even with your abilities, you can't be everywhere at once. Watch me. The campaign began within days. Jin-Woo divided his shadow army into specialized divisions. 5,000 orc shadows under Grimscar's command deployed to fight the Urgok Wa, their knowledge of orc tactics and brutality making them perfect counters to greenskin forces. 3,000 Necron shadows led by Zarathek traveled to the awakening tomb worlds, their ancient military protocols proving effective against their former species. 2,000 Tyranid shadows supported guard forces fighting Hive Fleet Jormungandr. The Keeper of Secrets and remaining shadows formed a rapid response force that Jin-Woo personally led against chaos incursions. The Imperium had never seen warfare like this. On Cryptus Prime, Grimscar's orc shadows smashed into Urgok's Wa with brutal efficiency. Orcs fought their own shadows in confused, savage melees, while Jin-Woo shadow stepped through the battlefield, extracting fallen orcs faster than they could spawn. Within 3 weeks, he'd converted 40,000 greenskins. Urgok himself fell in single combat with Jin-Woo, the war boss's dying words a confused complaint. "Dis ain't proper," legendary shadow soldier, war boss Urgok the Eternal obtained. The Sharadan sector became Jin-Woo's second major battlefield. Chaos forces poured through warp rifts, demons materializing by the thousands, cultists chanting profane rituals. Jin-Woo met them with the Keeper of Secrets and his demon shadows, former servants of the Dark Gods now absolutely loyal to Death's monarch. The psychological impact was devastating. Chaos worshippers watched their own demons fight against them, witnessed greater demons of Slanesh serving something that wasn't a chaos god. Many went mad, many more defected, their faith shattered. Jin-Woo extracted 30,000 demon shadows across 4 major incursions. Each extraction severed another thread, connecting the warp to reality, weakening Chaos's grip incrementally. The Necron tomb worlds proved more challenging. Zarathek's strategic knowledge helped, but the ancient machines fought with calculated precision that made casual extraction difficult. Jin-Woo adapted, targeting their command structures, extracting overlords and cryptechs whose loss crippled entire Legion formations. 12 tomb worlds fell silent, their defenders converted to shadow form, their reanimation protocols permanently overridden. 20,000 Necron shadows joined his army. Against Hive Fleet Jormungandr, Jin-Woo employed his Tyranid shadows as infiltrators. The hive mind struggled to comprehend creatures that looked like bioforms but felt like death, that moved with Tyranid efficiency but served an external will. Jin-Woo personally boarded several bioships, fighting through miles of living corridors to reach the synaptic nodes, the hive tyrants and Norn queens that directed the swarm. Each node he killed added thousands to his army. 15,000 new Tyrannid shadows, including 2 Norn queens whose strategic intelligence now served him. The campaign lasted 18 months. Jin-Woo fought on 73 worlds, participated in 216 major engagements, personally killed 8 warlords, 3 demon princes, 17 Necron overlords, and countless lesser threats. His army grew exponentially. Shadow army size, 127,489. Legendary commanders, 14 species represented. 7 quest, breach the veil. Phase 1 complete. Objective achieved. Army size exceeds 100,000 doza. Phase 2. Unlocked. Seal the webway breach. Jin-Woo returned to Terra, covered in the dust of a dozen worlds, his black coat torn in places, but his eyes burning with purpose. He'd done it. Built an army large enough to hold the webway breach permanently. Now came the moment of truth. They assembled in the depths beneath the Imperial Palace. Jin-Woo, Captain General Valoris, the Fabricator General, Tribune Vol, and 50 custodes. Before them, the webway breach pulsed with malevolent energy, demons pressing eternally against the Emperor's failing seal. The Emperor has been informed, Valoris said quietly. He knows what you plan. The Captain General's voice carried uncharacteristic emotion. He is ready. Jin-Woo stepped forward, extending his senses toward the breach. The system painted tactical data across his vision, structural weaknesses, demon pressure points, optimal positioning for his shadow forces. I'll deploy my army in 3 layers, Jin-Woo explained. First line, Necron shadows. Their living metal forms and technological weapons will provide range suppression. Second line, demon shadows. They understand warp tactics, can fight chaos forces with their own techniques. Third line, combined orc and tyrannid shadows for close combat and overwhelming numbers. My legendary commanders will coordinate their respective forces. And if the demons break through, the Fabricator General asked. They won't. My shadows are immune to corruption, tireless, and absolutely loyal. They'll hold this breach for eternity if necessary. Jin-Woo turned to Valoris. The question is whether you trust me enough to let the Emperor step away from the throne. We have no choice, Valoris said. The throne fails more each day. Your way offers hope. False hope, perhaps, but hope nonetheless. Jin-Woo began the deployment. From his shadow erupted 127,000 soldiers. They materialized in perfect formations. Necron warriors with Gauss weaponry, demon shadows wreathed in purple fire, orc mobs led by 3 war bosses, tyrannid bioforms of every classification, human knights and mages from his original world. They filled the massive chamber, a sea of shadows that stretched into darkness. At the front, his legendary commanders took position. Zarathik raised his war scythe, calculating firing solutions. Grimscar, Urgok, and a 3rd war boss named Skraga bellowed silent commands to their orc legions. The Keeper of Secrets and 6 other greater demons spread their wings, ready to counter any warp-based attacks. 2 Norn queens coordinated the tyrannid swarms with cold intelligence. Jin-Woo walked to the breach's edge, feeling the warp's hunger, its desperate desire to flood through and consume Terra. He raised his hand. "Hold the line," he commanded. "Nothing gets through, ever." The Shadow Army advanced as one, moving toward the breach in perfect coordination. Necron shadows opened fire first, Gauss beams lancing into the warp, obliterating demons that pressed against the barrier. Demon shadows followed, their dark powers twisting warp energy against itself. Orcs charged with brutal enthusiasm, their weapons tearing apart anything that manifested. Tyranids filled gaps with living walls of chitin and shadow flesh. The breach's pressure intensified. Demons of all four Chaos Gods recognized what was happening. Something was replacing the Emperor's will. Something that shouldn't exist. Something that made them afraid. They threw themselves at the barrier with renewed fury. Jin-Woo's army held, not just held, dominated. Every demon that manifested was destroyed within seconds, torn apart by shadow soldiers that couldn't be corrupted, couldn't be tempted, couldn't be stopped. The Chaos Gods themselves seemed to recoil, their attention focused on this impossible force that defied everything they understood about the Materium. "It's working," the Fabricator General said, his voice heavy with awe. "The breach is stabilizing. The demon pressure is decreasing." "Because they're afraid," Jin-Woo said. "For the first time in 10,000 years, the warp faces something it can't corrupt, something that kills its servants permanently and makes them serve death instead of chaos." He turned to Valoris. "The breach is sealed. Tell the Emperor he can let go." They ascended to the Sanctum Imperialis together. The Emperor still sat upon the golden throne, his ravaged body maintained by machines, his consciousness spread across the galaxy, holding back darkness. But now, with the webway breach sealed by Jin-Woo's army, one of his eternal duties was complete. Jin-Woo approached the throne slowly, feeling the Emperor's presence focusing on him. The chamber's atmosphere grew heavy with psychic energy. "I've sealed the breach," Jin-Woo said, speaking to the dying god directly. "Your shadows hold it now. You don't need to maintain it anymore." The Emperor's response came not in words, but in feelings, relief, gratitude, and underneath it all, readiness. Readiness to finally, after 10,000 years, rest. "The Astronomicon will fail when you leave the throne," Jin-Woo continued. "Ships will be stranded. Navigation will become impossible until you're restored. The Imperium needs to prepare." Valoris stepped forward. "We've issued system-wide orders. All warp travel within the Segmentum Solar has been suspended. Astropaths have been warned. The Imperium will endure a temporary navigation blackout." He paused. "How long will this take?" "I don't know. Hours, maybe days. Resurrecting something as powerful as the Emperor." Jin-Woo shook his head. "I've never done anything on this scale." "Then we proceed," Valoris said. "With the Emperor's blessing and our faith, we proceed." Jin-Woo placed his hand on the Golden Throne's armrest, extending his power toward the Emperor's consciousness. "Are you ready?" The Emperor's golden eyes blazed with final intensity. Through their psychic connection, Jin-Woo felt the answer. Yes. Finally, yes. Jin-Woo channeled his power, not to kill, but to sever. To cut the connections binding the Emperor to the Golden Throne, to release him from the machinery that had imprisoned him for 10 millennia. It was delicate work, like untangling threads woven through reality itself. The Emperor's consciousness began to withdraw from the throne. Throughout the Imperium, astropaths screamed as the Astronomicon flickered and died. Ships in warp transit found themselves suddenly blind, their navigators gasping as the guiding light vanished. On a million worlds, Imperial citizens looked up at the sky, and felt, for the first time in their lives, truly alone. The Emperor's body spasmed once, then went still. Truly still. The machines monitoring his vital signs flatlined. The psychic pressure that had filled the chamber for 10,000 years dissipated like smoke. The God Emperor of mankind was dead. Jin-Woo acted immediately. Arise. His power surged through the Emperor's corpse, fighting against the residual divine energy, wrestling with consciousness that had guided humanity for 38,000 years. The extraction was agony, like trying to contain a star, like grasping infinity itself. The Emperor's body began to dissolve, not into shadow stuff like other extractions, but into pure light, golden, radiant, overwhelming. It filled the chamber, blinding everyone, forcing even the custodes to avert their eyes. Extraction in progress. Target consciousness, immeasurable. Power level exceeds classification. Warning, Shadow Monarch system at 97% capacity. Warning, extraction may fail. Override authorization required. Jin-Woo gritted his teeth, pouring everything he had into the extraction. He was the Shadow Monarch. Death bowed to him. If any being in any universe could resurrect a god, it was him. Override authorized, he gasped. Complete extraction. Whatever it takes. Override accepted. Drawing power from Monarch's essence. Current level 352, 349, 346. The system was burning his levels, consuming his accumulated power to fuel the extraction. Jin-Woo felt himself weakening, but didn't stop. This was why he'd come to this universe. This was the purpose the system had shown him. The light coalesced, compressed, shaped itself into human form. Taller than before, 3 meters, matching the custode's height. Wrapped in shadow-wreathed armor that gleamed gold and purple simultaneously. And the face, the Emperor's face, whole and unmarred. Young, perhaps 30 standard years, but carrying eyes that held 38 millennia of memory. He opened them, and they blazed with power that made the Golden Throne's psychic lightning look like candlelight. Legendary Shadow Soldier, God Emperor of Mankind obtained. Special status, perpetual, cannot be permanently destroyed. Special ability, Imperial Truth, can project psychic power without warp corruption. Special ability, Master of Mankind, retains all divine capabilities. Warning, Shadow status, temporary, restoration to full independence possible. Current Shadow Monarch level, 341. The Emperor stood, his new body moving with grace that his old form had lost millennia ago. He looked at his hands, whole, uncorrupted, powerful, then at Jin-Woo. "You freed me," the Emperor said. His voice was like thunder, like music, like every human voice speaking in perfect harmony. "After 10,000 years of imprisonment, you freed me." Jin-Woo collapsed to one knee, exhausted. The extraction had cost him 11 levels, nearly all his reserve power. But it had worked. The Emperor lived, not as a broken corpse on a throne, but as a being of shadow and light, death and divinity merged. "The Astronomicon," Valorous said urgently. "Lord, can you restore it?" The Emperor turned, his presence filling the chamber. "Yes, but not from the throne, not anymore." He raised his hand, and golden light erupted from his palm. Not warp energy, Jin-Woo realized, but something purer. The Imperial Truth, the Emperor's vision of humanity's secular perfection, given form through Jin-Woo's shadow death matrix. It spread through the chamber, through the palace, into orbit, across the Sol system, and beyond. The Astronomicon reignited. But different now. stronger, clearer, no longer requiring constant sacrifice. The Emperor's new form, existing between life and death, channeled psychic power without bleeding essence, without slowly dying to maintain it. "The throne bound me," the Emperor said, his voice resonant with newfound freedom. "Made my power static, unchanging. Now," he clenched his fist, and reality rippled. "Now I am unbound. Death and divinity merged, shadow and light, all that I was, all that I could have been, finally united." He turned to Jin-Woo, extending a hand to help him stand. "You have my gratitude, Shadow Monarch, and my acknowledgement. You are the first being in this galaxy to truly help humanity without demanding worship or submission in return." "I made a promise," Jin-Woo said, accepting the help. "I keep my promises. Then I make one in return." The Emperor's eyes blazed with determination. "You freed me from the throne's prison. In exchange, I offer you this. Remain in this universe, fight at my side, and together we will reshape the Imperium into something worthy of humanity's potential. Or return to your own world, and I will ensure the portal home is opened. The choice is yours." Critical quest decision point. Option A, remain in Warhammer 40K universe, continue story. Option B, return to original universe, end story. Option C, complete Emperor's restoration, unlock new questline. Jin-Woo looked at the Emperor, no longer a shadow servant but an ally, the system's binding already weakening as the God Emperor's power reasserted itself. He'd completed his quest, sealed the breach, resurrected a god. But the galaxy still burned, chaos still threatened. Tyranids still consumed worlds. The Imperium, even with a restored Emperor, faced extinction on 1,000 fronts. "There's a third option," Jin-Woo said. "Speak it." "You're still bound to my shadow matrix. It's weakening. Yes, your power is too vast to be permanently contained. But right now, in this moment, you're still technically my shadow servant." Jin-Woo met the Emperor's gaze. "I could make your restoration permanent, sever the connection completely, let you return to full independence as the true God Emperor. No strings attached, no obligations. You would give up power over me freely." The Emperor seemed genuinely surprised. Few beings would make such an offer. "I didn't resurrect you to control you. I did it to free you." Jin-Woo smiled slightly. "Besides, I have a feeling we'll work together better as equals than as master and servant." The Emperor studied him for a long moment, then nodded. "You are wise beyond your years, Shadow Monarch. Very well, complete my restoration. Let me stand fully independent once more." Jin-Woo reached out with his power one final time, finding the threads that bound the Emperor to his shadow matrix. With careful precision, he cut them. The severance was like releasing a dam. Golden light exploded from the Emperor, no longer filtered through Jin-Woo's shadow nature, now purely divine. It filled the Sanctum Imperialis, spilled into the corridors beyond, radiated through the Imperial Palace. Every human on Terra felt it, a presence that had been absent suddenly returning, magnified beyond anything they'd known before. The Emperor was truly back. Shadow binding severed. God Emperor of Mankin fully restored. Status independent perpetual entity. Power level classified. The Emperor's form solidified, his shadow death nature burning away to reveal something greater, a being that existed simultaneously in the materium and beyond it, anchored to reality but no longer imprisoned by flesh. He was alive, but also more than alive. Mortal, but also eternal. Human, but also divine. I remember, the Emperor said, his voice carrying the weight of 38 millennia. Everything, every moment on the throne, every sacrifice, every prayer from every human across the galaxy. I remember it all, and I am no longer bound to endure it helplessly. He turned to Valoris and the assembled custodes who had fallen to their knees. Rise, my guardians. You have served faithfully for 10,000 years. Now I ask you to serve once more, not to guard a corpse, but to help me rebuild the Imperium properly. Always, my lord, Valoris said, his voice thick with emotion. Always. The Emperor's attention shifted to Jin-Woo. You ask nothing in return for freeing me. That makes you either the most foolish or most noble being I've encountered in millennia. Which is it? Neither, Jin-Woo said. I solved a problem. You were dying, your Imperium was collapsing, and I had the power to help. It wasn't about nobility or reward. It was about doing what needed to be done. Spoken like someone who understands duty. The Emperor extended his hand. Then accept this. You have my friendship, Shadow Monarch. In a galaxy that knows only war, where allies are rare and trust rarer still, I offer you both. Fight alongside me, and together we will forge something better than this perpetual darkness. Jin-Woo clasped the Emperor's hand, a warrior's grip, equal to equal. Agreed, but I have conditions. Name them. First, my shadow army remains independent. I command them, not the Imperium. We'll fight your battles, but on my terms. Acceptable. Your shadows have already proven their worth by sealing the webway breach. Second, no worship. I'm not a god, not a saint, not a martyr. I'm a hunter who got dropped into your universe and decided to help. Don't make me into something I'm not. The Emperor laughed, a sound that made the chamber ring like a bell. After 10,000 years of unwanted worship, I understand that sentiment perfectly. Agreed. Third, when this is done, when the galaxy is stable, when the Imperium no longer faces immediate extinction, I want help finding a way home. I have people in my world. They'll be wondering what happened to me. The Emperor's expression grew serious. That will be difficult. The dimensional breach that brought you here was likely one-time occurrence, and... He paused, his eyes unfocusing as he sensed something. Wait. Your system. It's not native to either of our universes, is it? Jin-Woo tensed. How did you know? Because I just touched your essence directly during the resurrection. The system that guides you is ancient, older than the warp, older than the materium, possibly older than this galaxy itself. It's not technology, not magic, but something else. A fundamental force that observes, tests, and guides chosen individuals across dimensions. The Emperor's gaze sharpened. You were selected, Jin-Woo, chosen by something that transcends universes. Your arrival here was no accident. System alert. Entity. God Emperor has perceived system core. Classification acceptable. Restriction: do not reveal system origin to others. Jin-Woo absorbed this information. The system had brought him here deliberately, testing him, preparing him for something. Then you're saying I was meant to help you. Perhaps. Or perhaps the system saw an opportunity and guided you toward it. Either way, the result is the same. You freed me, and now we stand as allies. The Emperor lowered his hand. As for returning home, I will help you when the time comes. The webway, properly restored, can bridge dimensions. It will take years, possibly decades, but it's possible. Years I can work with. Good, because the galaxy needs us both. The Emperor gestured, and a hololithic display materialized from nothing. The entire Milky Way galaxy, spinning slowly, marked with threat indicators. There were thousands of them. Hive fleets approaching from beyond the galactic rim, the Cicatrix Maledictum tearing reality across the galaxy's width. Necron dynasties awakening, Orc empires expanding, chaos corruption spreading. The Imperium barely holds, and only my absence from direct action allowed things to deteriorate this far. Where do we start? Jin-Woo asked. Everywhere. The Emperor's smile was fierce, a god of war finally free to wage war properly. I will take direct command of the Imperial military forces. You will lead your Shadow Army as an independent rapid response force. Between us, we'll push back every threat, reclaim every lost world, and remind this galaxy why humanity should be feared. He turned to address everyone in the chamber, custodies, tech priests, inquisitors, all who had witnessed the resurrection. Send word throughout the Imperium. The Emperor walks among his people once more. The age of imprisonment has ended. The age of reconquest begins. The next months became legend. The Emperor appeared on battlefields personally, his mere presence rallying Imperial forces and striking terror into enemies. He fought alongside his Space Marines, led armies from the front, demonstrated why he had once conquered the galaxy during the Great Crusade. But now, freed from the throne's limitations, his power had evolved. He could manifest across multiple locations simultaneously, coordinate fleets with perfect precision, counter chaos corruption just by existing nearby. Jin-Woo fought equally tirelessly, his Shadow Army deployed across 100 battlefields. Every victory added to his forces. Every major engagement yielded new legendary commanders, Swarm Lords, Orc Warlords, Chaos Champions, Necron Pharaons. His army grew to 150,000, then 200,000, becoming a force that entire sectors feared. Together, the Emperor and the Shadow Monarch were unstoppable. They broke Hive Fleet Leviathan's tendril fleets, Jin-Woo's tyrannid shadows infiltrating bioships and extracting synaptic creatures before the Hive mind could adapt. The Emperor personally led the counter-assault, his psychic power severing the Hive mind's connections across light years. They invaded the chaos-held worlds of the Maelstrom, the Emperor's imperial truth burning away corruption, while Jin-Woo extracted demon princes and added them to his army. The Chaos Gods screamed in fury as their servants were stolen permanently, converted to serve death and order instead of the ruinous powers. They met Necron dynasties with Zarathek at the forefront, the Overlord negotiating truces with his former species, while Jin-Woo demonstrated that the ancient machines could be destroyed permanently if they continued hostilities. The Imperium didn't just survive. For the first time in 10,000 years, it advanced. Worlds were reclaimed, sectors secured. The Great Rift's expansion slowed as the Emperor's power contested it directly. Hope, real, tangible hope, spread through humanity. 2 years after the Emperor's resurrection, Jin-Woo stood atop the palace walls, looking out over Terra's endless cityscape. The planet had changed, still Gothic, still industrial, but now showing signs of renewal. Gardens being cultivated, infrastructure repaired. The oppressive grim darkness lifting incrementally as humanity rediscovered what it meant to have a future instead of just perpetual decline. The Emperor joined him, his presence no longer overwhelming, but comfortable. The easy companionship of warriors who'd fought side by side through countless battles. The webway restoration proceeds ahead of schedule, the Emperor said. Eldrad Ulthrin and the craft world Eldar have agreed to assist. They're quite interested in meeting the entity who can extract Tyrannid shadows. In 5 years, perhaps 10, we'll have a stable dimensional bridge. Back home, Jin-Woo said. The words felt strange after 2 years in this universe. You'll be missed. Your shadow army has become integral to Imperial defense strategies. Losing 200,000 elite forces will create gaps. You'll adapt. You did it for 10,000 years without me. Jin-Woo smiled slightly. Besides, I'm leaving something behind. Oh, Zarathek has agreed to remain. He's found purpose coordinating with the Mechanicus, sharing Necron's strategic knowledge. Grimscar and the Orc commanders want to keep fighting. They've never had such proper scraps as they get in your Imperium. Several demon shadows have requested to stay, finding it amusing to fight their former masters. Jin-Woo paused. I'll take about half my army home. Leave the rest here as Terra's ultimate defense force, a permanent seal on the webway breach and rapid response capability for major threats. Generous, considering they're yours by right. They're soldiers. They deserve to fight for something that matters. Your Imperium gives them that purpose. Jin-Woo looked at the Emperor. Besides, someone needs to protect this galaxy while you're rebuilding. My shadows can hold the line. The Emperor nodded slowly. Then I accept, with gratitude. Your shadows will be honored as heroes of the Imperium, exempt from the usual Xenos Purge protocols. He smiled. The Inquisition is still having theological debates about whether demon shadows count as heresy or divine intervention. Let them debate, as long as they don't try to destroy what we've built. They stood in comfortable silence for a moment, watching Terra's sunset, a real sunset, visible now that pollution control systems had been repaired. Will you return? The Emperor asked. Once you've resolved matters in your world, will you come back? Jin-Woo considered. The system had gone quiet lately, its quest notifications less frequent, as if satisfied with what he'd accomplished. But the galaxy still held challenges, still had mysteries to explore. And he'd made friends here, Valdric, Kira, even some of the custodes who'd initially distrusted him. Maybe, he said finally. If the system brings me back, or if you need help with something only I can handle, this universe has a way of creating problems that require unusual solutions. That it does. The Emperor extended his hand one final time. Then until we meet again, Shadow Monarch, you will always have a home here, and humanity will always remember the outsider who saved their god. Jin-Woo shook his hand. And you'll always have my respect, God Emperor. Not many beings could endure 10,000 years of torture and emerge sane. You're tougher than any monarch I fought in my world. High praise from someone who commands death itself. As the sun set over Holy Terra, the Emperor and the Shadow Monarch stood together. Two impossibilities, two beings who defied every natural law, who had reshaped the galaxy through sheer will and power. The Imperium would remember this era as the resurrection, when their god returned, when shadows fought for humanity, when the endless grim darkness lifted just enough to show that survival wasn't the only option. There could be victory. There could be hope. There could be a future. And somewhere in the depths of the Imperial Palace, the webway began to hum with power, reconstructing pathways that had been sealed for millennia, building a bridge that would span dimensions and return Jin-Woo to his home. But that was years away. For now, there were still battles to fight, enemies to defeat, worlds to save. The Shadow Monarch and the God Emperor had work to do. And across the galaxy, in the warp and the materium alike, their enemies learned to fear the impossible alliance, death and divinity walking side by side. The 41st millennium would never be the same,